Hello friends. This is God of Fiction. How are you all? So in this video, we will what if Naruto become the Kitsune Reaper and fell in love with Yoruichi Shihoun. But before we start, if you want more amazing stuff like this, then be sure to subscribe to our channel and like this video. Also, if possible, share this video with your friends. Now without wasting any more time, let's begin the story. It was a calm and cool night in the Seireiki. Nothing was out of the ordinary. The Shinigami were doing their rounds as usual. However, in the distance there was one particular individual who was jumping from rooftop to rooftop. He was clearly in a hurry. His thoughts were focused on one thing, and it was driving him crazy because he couldn't figure out how to deal with it. Upon reaching his destination, he forced his mind to become a blank slate, as he stood staring at the front doors to one of the most famous clans in the Seireiki, the Shihoun clan. Instinctively he reached out to push one of the two doors to the compound, but he stopped himself at the last second. Whoa! That was close. I know her well enough to be prepared. She might have some extra Onitsukido stationed here to keep us, mostly Urahara, out so we don't pull any late-night pranks. He allowed himself a small chuckle at a recent memory of a prank that Urahara and he had pulled. Man, was she pissed. We both ended up in the hospital, but thanks to my fast healing, I was fine. Unfortunately, I could not say the same thing for Urahara. The smile that was on his face suddenly changed to a frown. Now that I think about it, I'm not sure she forgave me for that. I just hope she can forgive me for what I am about to do to her now. Stepping back, he looked up, and in one swift action, he jumped onto the roof and hurried forward to his ultimate destination. Entering a room through an open window, he looked around the room, and spotting a picture frame on a dresser, he walked towards it. Stopping next to the dresser, he picked up the frame and sees a photograph of a tall blonde man with a fox-like grin on his handsome face. His hair was spiky, and almost seemed to defy the laws of gravity. His eyes were ocean blue, and his most distinctive feature was the 6 whisker marks on his cheeks, 3 on each side. He wore his captain uniform, which consisted of the captain haori that DD over his form, stopping right above his ankles. It was decorated with orange-red flames on the bottom, and had the written kanji character of the word third written on the back. His outfit was completed underneath with a standard Shinigami uniform. The woman next to him, with her arms around one of his and smiling benignly into the camera, was none other than Yoruichi Shihoun, the 22nd head of the Shihoun clan. Her skin was a beautiful shade of dark brown, which contrasted with her luminous golden eyes in a visually striking effect. She had brilliant purple hair, which was tied up in a ponytail with an orange ribbon. Her attire consisted of a black sleeveless undershirt, an orange overshirt with 2 white straps on each shoulder with a large beige sash around her waist. On her legs, she wore simple black stretch pants. On her wrists, she had long beige wrist warmers, secured by bands, with matching long beige leg warmers. A simple pair of brown shoes completed her outfit. The man stared at the picture for a long moment before he carefully put the frame back on the dresser. He couldn't help but smile to himself. That was the day I became a captain. He swiftly turned around and walked towards the bed, where the purple-haired goddess was sleeping peacefully, unaware of his presence. Carefully kneeling by the edge of the bed, he placed a hand on her cheek and stroked it tenderly, marveling at its softness. I still can't figure out how she fell in love with an idiot like me. He listened for a moment to the sound of her purring. Huh. I thought she only purred in her cat form. Well, I guess you learn something new every day, he chuckled softly. After a moment, he straightened up and pulled out a folded piece of paper, slipping it under her pillow. He then bent down to place a feather-light kiss on her forehead. Well, Yoruichi, I guess this is goodbye, he whispered softly to her. Walking to the window, he turned and looked at her one more time before jumping out the window and disappearing into the night. Little did he know that Yoruichi had heard him. She stirred and then lay there for a moment longer before she sat up and rubbed one of her eyes. Naruto, is that you? She mumbled, her voice still thick with sleep. After a moment of looking around her room and seeing no one there, she shrugged her shoulders and lay back down in her bed. Putting an arm under her pillow, she felt something. She sat up a bit and pulled it out of her pillow. It looked like a folded piece of paper. What the heck is this? Yoruichi said to herself. Turning her lamp on, she carefully unfolded the paper and began to read it. Yoruichi, If you are reading this, then I have already left the Seireitei. You should know by now what happened, but on the off chance you don't, I will tell you. For the past few months, I have been secretly following and monitoring Lieutenant Aizen due to reports of him that were connected with suspicious activities. One day I was careless and he discovered me. He found out what I was doing and planned to get rid of me. He tried killing me, but we are both equals on the battlefield. Beaten, he used his last resort. He pulled out a small, black orb from his robes and used it on me. I cannot tell you what it did to me, because even I do not know all of the effects of this orb. I do know that it's affecting my body very quickly and in a bad way. However, it gets worse. Killing me was not the only thing in his plans. Aizen is also plotting to murder Central 46. Since I am the only one who knows what he is going to do, he plans to tell the head captain that it was my plan to kill them, and it will work thanks to his damn sword Shikai ability. You remember that time when he showed us his Shikai ability? That was before he became a lieutenant, but apparently Aizen's Shikai true ability really is Kanzen Seimin, complete hypnosis. It controls the 5 senses to the point that it can make the target misinterpret form, shape, mass, feel and smell. The initial condition for the hypnosis is to show the enemy the release form of his Kyoka Suigetsu. After seeing it just once, that person will completely succumb to the hypnosis. After that, every time it is released, that person will fall under the thrall of the hypnosis. He tried to use it on against me, but it had no effect, due to my powers. The only way he can get rid of me is to either execute me or have me arrested. This will probably be the last time you will hear from me, so I must tell you one more thing. You have to promise me that no matter what happens or whatever you hear, you will not come looking for me. Also, I want you to move on, forget about me, and go forward with your life. I don't want you to get hurt. Please Yoruichi, just do it for you, not me. Naruto Uzumaki. Yoruichi put the note down and sat there in shock at what she just read. After a long moment, she came back to reality. She snapped her fingers. Soifan, with 3 other Onitsukido members, appeared right in front of her. Hi Lady Yoruichi. Soifan was nervous. She knew something was wrong mainly by the murderous expression on her face. Also, it was around 3 in the morning, and generally, people are not summoned at that time of morning for anything good. Bring me Urahara right now, and I don't care if you have to force him to come, Yoruichi told her. The girl opened her mouth to speak, but was cut off. Don't even think about asking me why, Soifan, or I swear to Kami I'll make you run laps around the Seireitei till you drop. Do I make myself clear? Soifan gulped and said, Hi. She then quickly bowed and left without saying another word. Yoruichi watched them scramble off. After a moment, she got out bed, her anger causing her to crumple the note still in her hand. Why Naruto, why, she said, fighting the urge to destroy everything in sight while she started to get dressed. 10 minutes later, the doors to Yoruichi's room slid open and Soifan quickly shoved Urahara in. She didn't want to stick around to witness Yoruichi's wrath. Urahara stumbled in and quickly regained his balance. He gave Yoruichi a dark look. So Yoruichi love, what was so urgent that your lieutenant forced me to come see you? Urahara asked the question, even though he already knew the reason for his summons. Flashback begins. Naruto was standing in front of Urahara's lab doors and taking several deep breaths to calm himself down. After he was calm enough to deal with the situation, he entered the lab and saw Urahara sitting in his chair, reading some papers. What can I do for you this early in the morning, Naruto? Urahara asked without looking up from his papers. I came to get one of those gigai you've been making so I can go to the human world immediately. Naruto replied in a calm but serious tone. Now Urahara glanced up from his papers to look sharply at Naruto. You're joking, right? Naruto just shook his head. Urahara raised an eyebrow. Well, can you at least explain why? He asked. Naruto sighs and starts to explain about Aizen, leaving out the part about the black orb. Damn it, Shinji was right after all about Aizen. Urahara exclaimed. So what are you going to do now? I mean, once you get to the human world. There was a moment of silence, and then Naruto replied, when I get there I'm going to find somewhere quiet to train where the Soul Society can't find me. I see, was Urahara's reply. They both stood there in contemplative silence for a few minutes until Urahara abruptly stood up and said, Alright then, I will give you the one that I just finished. It can hide all traces of Ryotsu. Urahara walked over to the other end of his lab to get the Gigai, and came back with two things. Here is the Gigai and a mod soul in case one of the hollows attacks you or you run afoul of one. Naruto thanked him and took the pill-like substance and the soul pager. He carefully examined what Urahara gave him. Why did you give me a soul pager? Don't the enemies use them to track people down? Naruto frowned. Urahara laughed. That's not funny. The last thing I want is to leave and then get caught and sent back. Naruto said, becoming furious as Urahara continued to laugh. After a moment, Urahara pulled one of his hand fans out of nowhere and held it up to hide his mouth. The soul pager is for you so I can contact you or you can contact me in case something happens to you. I'm the only one who can trace that soul pager. Honestly, Naruto, did you really think I'd let you be caught by the enemy? Who do you think I am anyways? Hey, thanks for this. Well, I'll see you on the flip side, Naruto said. He began to walk away, but stopped after a few steps and looked back at Urahara. Oh yes, before I forget. If you even think about telling Yoruichi about what happened here tonight, I'll come back and kick your ass. Sure, whatever you say, Urahara said with a nervous laugh. Flashback ends. Yoruichi's eyebrow twitched. Urahara involuntarily tensed. Oh, here it comes. How can you be so happy at a time like this? She whispered, but Urahara still heard her. Right before Urahara could reply, Yoruichi slammed into the wall behind him. Where is he? She asked him, her voice rising with each word. I have no id. He was cut off when Yoruichi grabbed his cane and unsheathed his Zanpakuto and placed it between his legs. I'm not going to ask you again. Where's Naruto? Yoruichi yelled as she moved his sword closer to little Urahara. As for the said person, he was sweating bullets by now. Yoruichi, you have to be kid. Once again, he was cut off when the sword slowly inched up his legs. Right when they touched his pants, Urahara closed his eyes and yelled out. He's at our secret TRAINNINGGROUDS. The next thing he heard was the sound of his sword hitting the floor, followed by a palpable silence. Opening his eyes to find Yoruichi nowhere in sight, he sighed heavily. Man, she's freaking crazy. That was too close. I need a drink. I wonder if Rangaku is still out, he said to himself as he shunpoed to the nearest bar. Unbeknownst to Urahara and Yoruichi, hidden just outside the door listening to the entire exchange was Soi Fan. As soon as she was alone, she followed Yoruichi to the confrontation at the training grounds. Naruto had just finished opening his own Senkaimon, door to human world. He began to walk towards it but stopped when he heard a familiar voice. Where do you think you're fucking going? Yoruichi yelled at the top of her lungs. So Kazuki caved, did he? Huh. I wonder what you did to him this time. Naruto replied, I'm going to kill him the next time I see him, he thought. He sighed heavily. I'm going to the human world. You can't stop me, and you can't come with me. Why can't I come with you? Yoruichi asked him. Naruto stayed silent. Answer me. She was quickly becoming enraged. He remained silent. Yoruichi's anger broke. Answer me, god damn it, she yelled out as her eyes began to tear up. Yoruichi, look at how you're acting. What would you have done if I left before you got here? Naruto asked. His words seemed to deflate her. She was quiet for a moment before replying. I don't know what I would do, but it would kill me if you left without me, Yoruichi said. Her eyes were still wet. Now think how Soi Fan would act if both the people she looked up to just disappeared and became wanted criminals. She would be crushed not only to lose a teacher but someone who is also her idol. You are the one person who treated her like a daughter. If she lost that, it would destroy her. She would close herself off and let nobody in just so she cannot be hurt like that again. That is why you have to stay behind, Naruto told her. But Naru, she was interrupted by a now raging Naruto. Listen to me, Yoruichi, I know what I'm leaving behind. Naruto's eyes flashed dangerously for a moment before he calmed down. He sighed and ran a hand through his messy hair. You're not thinking things through. Let's say I stayed here, right? The worst case scenario is me being executed on Sokyoko Hill. If you're freaking out here simply because I'm leaving, then how would you feel if you lost me forever? He paused, giving her time to let it sink in. Now think of what I lose if I go to the human world. All the people precious to me, the place I now call home, and, most of all, I lose the one person that could fall in love with a complete idiot like me. I know it is hard to give up the people you love, trust me, I know how it feels. This will be the second time that this happens to me. He whispered the last part to himself. I don't care, all I want is to be with. Her sentence hung unfinished when Naruto Shunpo ed behind her and knocked her out by hitting her in the back of the neck. I'm sorry Yoruichi, but I had to do that. I just hope you can forgive me, again. He then gently lowered her inert body to the ground. Then he reached up to remove his necklace, the one Tsunade had given him, and put it around her neck. He looked at her tenderly for one long, lingering moment. Finally, he got up, and looked off to his right. Soifan, I know you're there, so you can come out now. Naruto informed her. The young woman appeared in front of him. Her eyes were glaring daggers at the ground. Sensei. Soifan replied. Naruto could tell she was angry about something and he had a clue about what it was. I take it you heard our little conversation. It was a statement, not a question. Naruto saw the girl nod slightly, he sighed quietly. Look Soifan, don't get mad about what Yoruichi said. He began only for Soifan to cut him off. She basically flat out said she didn't care about leaving me, and you expect me not to be angry? What the hell, sensei? She yelled out in anger, fighting the tears that threatened to spill from her watery eyes. It hurts knowing that the one person you look up to doesn't even care about you. Naruto could feel how hurt she was, so he got on one knee and slowly reached out to cup her delicate jaw. He tilted her head up so she was looking directly into his eyes. Now you listen here, you know as much as I do. Yoruichi didn't mean what she said. She was just too caught up in her own emotions to think straight. Naruto reassured her. I see. Her voice sounded normal enough, but Naruto could still tell Soifan was still not convinced. How about I tell you a little secret? Naruto said as he stood up and offered her a hand up. A secret? She asked as they both stood up. She quickly brushed off some dirt on the bottom of her shirt. Well, Yoruichi will probably kill me if I told you this, but when it's just Yoruichi and me, all she can talk about is how much stronger you are now compared to when she first met you. She also told me that if you keep up your traininess, in due time you could take over her spot as captain of Squad 2 and every other one of her positions, except Shunshin, since she would never give up that title even if hell froze over. Naruto told her. She said all that? You're not just saying it to make me feel better? She asked with a hopeful gleam in her eyes. Yes, I'm telling you the truth, he said as he ruffled her hair, much to her chagrin. Sensei, how many times do I have to tell you not to do that? She grumbled as she reached up to fix her hair, but she was smiling now. 4,359 times and still counting, he told her with a smile. You actually count how many times I said that? She looked at him in disbelief. Yeah. Was I not supposed to? He asked. How am I going to know if I don't keep track? Just forget it. But are you actually leaving? She asked, changing the subject back to what was important. Damn, I was hoping she would forget. Naruto lowered his head, so his bangs were shadowing his eyes. Yes. Why? What could make you, one of the strongest Shinigami in the Seireitei, run off to the world of the living? Soifan asked him. I wish I could tell you, but I should get going, he told her. But sensei, she began to say, but she quickly fell silent when Naruto placed a hand on her shoulder. I know. Just ask Yoruichi later, okay? Oh, and speaking of her, I'm going to need you to take her back home, alright? Hi sensei. She replied. Her head was down, but she quickly snapped back up when she saw Naruto put some kind of scroll in front of her face. Take it, he told her as she looked at it curiously. What is it and what is it for? She asked, confused as to why he was giving it to her. It's a scroll to a place where I keep all of the Kido spells I developed, and it's also the instructions of a very special technique that can rival and surpass Yoruichi's Shunpo speed if you can master it. I have even beaten her in a game of tag with that very same technique. I was going to give you it when I had the chance to sneak back for a bit, but I think now is a good time since I won't be able to train you anymore, Naruto informed her. Soifan snatched it from his hand in a blink of an eye, and a moment later Naruto's words registered in her brain. A very special technique that can rival and surpass Yoruichi's Shunpo speed, if you can master it. I have even beaten her in a game of tag with that very same technique. Wait, did you just say you beat Lady Yoruichi in a game of tag? Soifan asked. Yeah, but she doesn't want me telling anybody, so don't tell her I told you. If you do, she'll kill me for sure. Naruto told her. She nodded her consent in keeping the secret. Now give me your hand, he told her as he brought out a kunai. Soifan hesitated at first but gave him her hand and regretted it as he took the kunai, then cut one of her fingers. She cried out in pain as he squeezed her finger and let a drop of blood smear onto his hand. He grabbed one of the scrolls and unfurled it, showing Soifan that it was blank on the inside. She then witnessed Naruto flash through a complicated series of hand signals. Now put your hand on the scroll. She did what she was told. To her surprise, the scroll started to glow brightly. After a moment, the glow slowly dissipated. What was that? Soifan asked. I was just getting your blood sample so you could use the scroll. You see, this is a special kind of scroll. It only reveals the contents to those who have my permission to use it by taking a drop of blood from the one intended to use it. I made it so only I could see what is inside it, initially. Then I altered it to accept the blood from others. What I did just now was put your blood sample so you could see it also, and now all you have to do is open the scroll and swipe your blood across it and you can read what it says. Naruto informed her. Well, all you had to do was ask for some blood. You didn't have to cut my finger like that, she said, ing on the cut finger trying to stop the bleeding. Yeah. Sorry about that. I think it's time for me to go now before it's too late, Naruto said abruptly. Alright, but you have to promise that you will come back. Sure, I'll try my hardest. If Yoruichi gives you too much trouble, just call her this, he said as he moved closer to her and whispered something in her ear. Why that? Soifan asked. She raised an eyebrow at him curiously. She hates it when someone else calls her that, Naruto told her. If she hates it, then why would I call her that? She asked him. Just trust me. Well, it's time for me to leave, so please take care of yourself and Yoruichi for me, he said as he ruffled her hair. Damn it, I told you not to do that. Soifan yelled at Naruto as he ran to the Senkaimon. That's 4,360 times now. Naruto yelled back as he jumped into the Senkaimon. She watched him disappear. Several minutes passed before Soifan looked at Yoruichi. I'm not sure I can even carry her, Soifan whined, as she carefully picked up her mentor and began the long trek back home. It was morning. The sun was up and its rays shined through the open window that was used by Naruto and Soifan the previous evening. Unfortunately, that window was also the closest window to the bed, so the sun was getting into her face, much to Yoruichi's displeasure. She turned over onto her side to shield herself from the sun, trying to get back to sleep in her nice comfortable bed. That was when she noticed that she was in bed. Suddenly the memories of the previous evening washed over her. Opening her eyes, she shot up into a sitting position as she realized she was back in her room. Looking around, she noticed Soifan in a nearby chair sleeping. Soifan must have carried me all the way here, but if she did, it means she must have followed me when I went to waylay Naruto. And that means she knows where the secret base, thought as she mentally slapped herself for being careless. Yoruichi tried to get up, but she felt a sudden spasm of pain in her back. Pushing it aside, she got up so she could wake up Soifan to find out what had happened to Naruto. As she got close, she could hear Soifan mumble something. Moving right up beside her, she leaned in closer so she could make out what the young girl was saying. Oh crap, I just dropped Lady Yoruichi. Well, that explains why my back hurts. What if she gets mad at me? Oh, I know. I'll just call her the name Naruto-sensei told me. What was it again? Oh yeah. Kanikohime. Her eyes widened in shock. What did she just say? Yoruichi thought to herself, not believing what she was hearing. As if Soifan could read minds, she said it again. Kanikohime. That's strange. Why would sensei call Lady Yoruichi Kitty Princess? It's not like she can transform into a cat or anything. Her mumbling now turned unintelligible as Soifan fell asleep again. By now, Yoruichi was pissed that Naruto had told someone, and not just anyone. He had told the one person who was always around her. The nickname he gave to her the first time he realized she could turn into a cat. Wait until the next time I see you, Naruto, I'm going to kill you. 10 years had passed and so far, everything was going well. The Soul Society had never found Naruto, and the Hollows near detected a trace of him. However, that all soon changed when Urahara got one last message from Naruto, and all it said was, "Something has been happening to me, I need your help." Urahara did not know what to do. Naruto was clearly in some sort of trouble. After a couple of minutes of pondering, he sprang into action. He quickly logged onto his computer and connected his soul pager to it. He had a program installed, which he had invented, that enabled him to track the location of Naruto's soul pager. As he waited for the program to load, he thought of the problem at hand. I can't just leave the Soul Society without a reason. They would be suspicious. I could leave and go help Naruto, but what did he mean by something has been happening to him? This is very odd indeed. Agitated, Urahara got up and began restlessly pacing his office. A moment later, there was a beeping noise from the computer, snapping him from his thoughts. The program must have found his soul pager, he said as he headed towards his desk. He glanced at page on the screen, quickly scanning its contents. It says it's located in a forest 5 miles from Karakura town. Why is he there? It's so far from the city. The Gigai gave him hides Ryotsu, so he should be able to stay in town. I'll just have to ask him when I find him, he thought to himself. As he was leaving the 12th Division barracks, he suddenly felt Shinji's Ryotsu spike looking over towards the direction from where he sensed the sudden change. His eyes narrowed and thought, "This isn't good," he said with little time to spare. He shunned Piyot away. Shinji Hiriko, Love Aikawa and Rojiro Atoribushi, aka Rose, alongside with Hashigan Ushado and Lisa Yatamaru were all sent to the Rukongai by Head Captain Yamamoto. They were there to find Kensai Mugaruma, captain of the 9th Division, along with his lieutenant Mashiro Kuna and his subordinates. As the group headed forward, Shinji could not help thinking back to what the head captain said to them and once again wondered how this could happen. Shinji, Love, Rose, Hachi and Lisa all rushed towards the captain's meeting room, located in the 1st Division barracks. Upon their arrival, the 1st Division Lieutenant Chojiro Sarakai greeted them. "The captain commander is waiting, please follow me," Chojiro said. Turning to open the doors, he walked into the room, and the others followed in an orderly fashion. Head Captain, Captains Hiriko, Aikawa, and Atoribushi, along with Lieutenants Ushado and Yatamaru have arrived. Chojiro announced to the room at large. "Thank you Lieutenant Chojiro, you dismissed," he told his lieutenant. "Hi Head Captain." He gave a departing bow and left, closing the doors behind him. Once the door closed, the head captain began to speak. "You all must be wondering why you are all here." He paused for a moment, seeing nods from everyone. "I have called you 5 for a very important mission that I'm about to give you. By now you all must have heard about the disappearances that have been going on in the Rukongai. Well, not just civilians who've been disappearing, we have had reports of Shinigami's missing as well. Recruits from seated officers, and even some of our best Omnitsukido squads have not been seen, nor heard from since they were given their missions. They have either gone missing or disappeared as well. Since we have no leads as to whom, or what is behind this, the 9th Division took it upon themselves to solve this disturbance. Earlier today, Captain Mugaruma, along with his lieutenant and several of his seated officers, went to investigate the latest disappearance. I had ordered them to send hourly reports on their finding. As of right now, they have failed to send a report in the last 3 hours. To make matters worse, I was informed not just 10 minutes ago that their Ryotsu have disappeared from our indicators. Sorry to interrupt Head Captain sir, but what you're saying is that because their Ryotsu disappeared, you're thinking the same thing that happened to the other victims has happened to them as well? Shinji asked. You are correct Captain Hiriko, and that is precisely why I picked you 5 for this mission. These people are close friends of yours. I know that you will get down to the bottom of this and find out what has happened to them. Therefore, with that said, the briefing is done. You all know what to do. I'm counting on you. Hi. They all yelled in unison. Very well. Just remember to proceed with caution, you're dismissed. The head captain said as he slammed his can on the floor. Let's hope everyone is alright. Shinji snapped out of his thoughts when he felt 2 Ryotsu. One was spiked but the other was decreasing. The group came to a sudden halt. You sense that too? Shinji asked the group as he looked over his shoulder. Everyone was nodding. It felt like Kensai's Ryotsu, Love said. But it feels like there's a hollow Ryotsu mixed in with his, Hachi added. And the other Ryotsu. It feels like Hiyori, Lisa said. But why is she there? Everyone paused for a moment, and then suddenly they heard Shinji yell. Damn it! A split second later Shinji was gone, having shunned Pio'd to Hiyori's location. The group looked puzzled, and then Love piped up. That's right. I forgot that Urahara had sent her here to get a sample for research. We'd better go to help him. Then they all shunned Pio'd after Shinji. Kensai. It's me, said a very short, brown-eyed, blonde-haired girl with pigtails that hung down to her shoulders. Hiyori was running away from a hollow-fied Kensai. The hollow-fied Kensai was a large, muscular, and bulky humanoid with armored hands and skeletal feet, with several thick cylindrical protrusions on his back and forearms. The cylinders on his back seemed to make him hunch over. It's Hiyori. She was still trying to reason with him, despite the fact that has had lost all of his humanity and was nothing more than a monster now. Hiyori suddenly stopped to see where he was. She gasped as he appeared right in front of her, his fist pulled back, ready to strike. There was a loud roar from Kensai. She closed her eyes, bracing for the attack. But there was only the feeling of her shirt collar being tugged almost violently. Opening her eyes, she was shocked to see Kensai's fist inches away from her face. His punch had had so much force it made a crater about 5 feet deep and 10 feet wide from where she was just standing seconds ago. Hiyori felt herself being placed back onto solid ground, and she turned to thank her savior. To her complete surprise, Shinji stood there. That was too close. You owe me one, Shinji said to her, and then looked past her towards the crater. It was about that time when Love and the others showed up. Is she okay? Love asked Shinji. Yeah, she's fine, he replied. Love then turned toward the crater just in time to see a hollow-fied Kensai calmly walking out. So is this creature really Kensai? Asked Rose. I don't know, but if we don't draw our swords we will be as good as dead, Shinji plainly said. On cue, everybody but Hiyori pulled out their swords and got ready to strike. When Kensai let out a loud roar, Shinji quickly picked up Hiyori and moved to a safer place. He then placed her back down but held her so she could not get away as he observed the fight. Love was trying to engage Kensai. Don't, stop, that's Kensai. Don't attack him, Hiyori pleaded with him. Listen to me Hiyori, if that is Kensai we have to fight him or he'll kill us, Shinji told her. Meanwhile Love waited as he watched Kensai calmly walk towards him. So what do you think is going on Rose? He asked. I don't know, but that Ryotsu I sensed earlier, it felt like Kensai, Rose said. But he has a hollow mask on. I wonder if he is a hollow? He wondered. Suddenly, the air felt tense. It was the start of a battle. Love and the others drew their weapons when they heard Kensai's loud roar. Love dashed at the hollow-fied Kensai. When he was close enough to strike, Kensai suddenly disappeared and reappeared right behind him, catching him off guard by his speed. Kensai took advantage of Love's temporary confusion to strike Love's right shoulder with a powerful energized punch. This resulted in a huge cloud of dust that covered both of them. Love! Rose shouted. Suddenly Kensai shot out of the smoke, and as the dust cleared, everyone saw that Love had somehow managed to withstand the attack, though the right side of his garment was destroyed and he was suffering some minor burns. With that strength, he's sure Kensai alright. Love seemed perfectly calm. In the background, Hiyori was begging them not to attack him, and Shinji was stating that they had to stop him if they wanted to survive. Is there a way to stop him without killing him? Rose asked. There is more than one way to stop him, Lisa said. If we can cut his tendons he won't be able to move, so aim there. She moved into a fighting position. Rose nodded his head and the two lunged at Kensai. Once Rose got close enough, he jumped and did a downward slash, only for Kensai to block with his arm. Sparks flew when his Zanpakuto made contact and Kensai just shoved him back. Then Kensai did a backflip to dodge a vertical slash aimed at his calf muscle from Lisa. Rose then shunned Pio'd behind Kensai using opportunity to attack his knee. Rose was shocked to see his sword slice right through his leg, only for it to turn out to be a phantom image of Kensai. Rose then looked over his shoulder just in time to see Kensai's fist charging right at him. Jumping out of the way at the last second, Rose moved back, getting some quick distance from Kensai. He quickly scanned the area and found Lisa and Love standing nearby in their defensive fighting positions. Suddenly Lisa screamed, and Rose focused his attention on her. Rose, look out, she yelled out, but it was too late. Before he could even put up a defense, Rose was slammed to the ground by a kick from a hollow-fied Mashiro. Meanwhile, all Shinji could do was try to keep Hiyori away of the fight and watch. While observing the intense battle between Love, Rose, Lisa, and Kensai, he could see they were getting nowhere. The battle was rapidly becoming a stalemate. Kensai's skin is too hard since he's part hollow now, so there is no real way of stopping him without going Shikai and hurting him. The only other way to stop him is to use a high-level Kido spell, but the only person who can do that is he was interrupted from his thoughts when he heard Lisa yell for Rose to watch out. Shinji was now paying attention to the scene before him. He winced as he saw Rose getting slammed into the by a hollow-fied-looking Mashiro. In his shock and rage, Shinji did the only thing that he could think of. "Hey Mashiro, over here," he yelled to get her attention. It worked. Suddenly Mashiro was running towards them with blinding speed. She was getting ready for another kick. In a split second, Mashiro was in front Shinji with a leg pulled back. She then swung it towards him, aiming for his head. With only a split second to spare, Shinji brought his Zanpakuto up to block her kick while still keeping a hold of a now scared Hiyori. Her shin met his blade, causing his feet to shift a little. Shinji quickly regained his footing, and was able to force her back enough to regroup for the next attack. Suddenly there was a rumbling noise, followed by a voice. Walls of iron sand. A priestly pagoda. Glowing ironclad fireflies. Standing upright, silent to the end. Bakudo number 75, Gok Tekken. 5 incredibly tall and thick pillars, which were connected to each other by chains, formed seemingly out of midair, and fell from directly above Mashiro to pin her to the ground. Walking over towards them was the owner of the voice. It was none other than Hachi. He had a triumphant look on his face. "Thanks Hachi," Shinji said. "You're welcome. Well, I must say I'm impressed with you guys. Your Shunpo skills are really coming along. You lot got here pretty damn quick." Observing the battle that was still taking place, Hachi noticed that Kensai was rapidly overpowering the group. Hachi raised his palm and faced Kensai. Bakudo number 63. Seijo Sabaku, locking bondage stripes. Hachi yelled out while closing his hand into a fist. A yellow energy shot out of his palm, quickly morphing into the shape of a rope. It ensnared Kensai. "There. That should hold him, but do you know WH?" Hachi started but broke off when Kensai broke free from the Bakudo spell. "That's impossible. No one has ever broken free from a level 63 Bakudo spell by physical strength alone." Hachi was in utter shock for a moment and sat down heavily on the ground. Now that Kensai was free again, he went after Lisa. With his speed, he was too fast for her to do anything, but she still tried to raise a last-second defense. He appeared right in front of her ready to strike, but was interrupted by a Kido spell from Rose that hit him square in the back. "Wow Kensai. I didn't think you were that weak, to attack a lady. That's way below you," Rose said. His remark seemed to piss off Kensai, and he turned to face Rose and got ready to lunge at him, but he was stopped by Hachi using a Bakudo number 99, Kin. For a moment, there was dead silence, then Shinji spoke. "Wow Hachi, you did a Bakudo 99 without the incantation. I'm impressed. But now, let's focus on the other matter. Do you think you can fix what happened to them?" "I can't fix what I don't know," he replied with a frown. At that moment, the group's attention was drawn towards Hiyori, who had started coughing. "Hiyori, are you alright?" Shinji asked her with a concerned look on his face. He grabbed her shoulders. "Hachi, can you see what's wrong with her?" he asked while the others started to run over to them to see what was wrong. Hachi then examined her, but before he could do anything, Hiyori spoke. "Let me go," she choked out, hitting Shinji in the ribs and forcing him to let go of her. "Hiyori, please tell us what's wrong," Shinji said. "I'm fine," she replied, then broke into a coughing fit. She coughed up some white liquid. "I would hardly call that fin," Shinji started, but something cut him off. There was an odd squelching noise as a now hollow-fied Hiyori slashed him across the chest. Before anybody could register what had transpired, their vision went dark. Suddenly an unseen assailant attacked them. The only person who was conscious after the darkness lifted was Shinji. He blinked and saw everyone on the ground out cold. Looking around to see who or what attacked them, he found none other than Konami Tosen. Muguruma 5th seat standing there with his Zanpakuto out. as there was blood dripping from the tip of it. "Konami, how could you betray your own captain?" he yelled. He was going to say more, but something in the background caught his eye and silenced him. It was the arrival of Sosuke Aizen and Jin Ichimaru. "He didn't betray anyone," Aizen stated in his usual calm voice. "He was just faithfully following orders." "Whose orders?" "My orders," he replied, never dropping the calm tone in his voice. "Well, I'm not surprised," Shinji replied. Suddenly, everything seemed to make sense. "Did you suspect something from me?" Aizen questioned him. "I did, right from the start. From the moment I saw you at the academy. There was something about you, something dangerous. You possess an untrustworthy aura. That was why I picked you to be in my squad as my lieutenant, so I could keep an eye on you," Shinji told him. "I'm grateful that you went through all that trouble, just for me," Aizen said with a smile. "What do you mean?" Shinji asked, puzzled with Aizen's response. "What I mean is, since you didn't trust me, you didn't suspect a thing. But I already told you a week ago that I knew you were up to something." "Ooh, I would have never known. You see, I haven't been around you for the last couple of months." He then began to tell him of his Zanpakuto's power. "So therefore, I tricked you and made you think I was walking around with you. If you were as close to me as other captains are to their lieutenants, you would have been able to tell the difference between my doppelganger and me. If it makes you feel any better, everyone in the Seireitei is under my Shikai's ability. However," he trailed off, "there was only one who figured its power, and that one person is none other than Naruto Uzumaki. So you were the one who was behind his betrayal. I guess Urahara was right after all." "What do you mean, Urahara was right?" Aizen asked, a little surprised that Urahara knew something about him. "Yeah, he told me that Naruto engaged you and then you framed him, so he had to leave or die if he stayed," Shinji replied in response to the question. "But he didn't tell me about your Shikai's power. He must have thought I'd do something I would regret." As Shinji got to his feet, he started coughing violently. He wiped his mouth, and his eyes widened in shock as he saw the white substance clinging onto his hands. What is this?" he asked. The others were also now coughing up white liquid, but it was forming on their faces. "It's like it's forming some kind of mask," he thought. Then the answer hit him like a ton of bricks. "It was you. You made Kensai and Mashiro morph into their current state. You caused all this trouble. What did you do to us?" he asked Aizen. "What I did? Well, you could say I was doing a little experiment. I needed to know what would happen if I used this on others." Aizen brought out what looked like some kind of orb. "This is just an imitation, but it has almost the same qualities as the real one." "What is it and what does it do?" Shinji asked him. "It's capable of many things, but the most important thing is that it can break the barrier between the Shinigamises and Hollows. Before I can use it on myself, I had to see what would happen if it was used on others. As for what it is, that's none of your concern." "So you used that thing on us to test it before you used it on yourself?" Shinji asked him. "How could you be so cruel? This whole situation is your fault, and you don't even care." "No, it's your fault." Seeing a confused look on Shinji's face, he continued. "It's like I said earlier, if you were close to me like the other captains or with their lieutenants, you could have stopped me. However, you weren't, so those who are becoming hollows as we speak are in that state because of you." Now Shinji was mad, not just for what Aizen did to everyone, but also because he dared to blame him for what had happened. Gripping his Zanpakuto until his knuckles turned white, he lunged at his lieutenant ready to strike him down, only for Konami to block his attack and force him back. "Konami, get out of my way. This is between Aizen and me. I won't let someone like you to disrespect or touch Aizen-sama." "Fine, have it your way. I'll take you down first then. Aizen," he yelled again, lunging at Konami. Konami, seeing this coming, got into a defensive stance in order to block Shinji's attack. However, he was caught off guard when Shinji Shun-Pyo'd behind him and went for a downward vertical slash aimed for his back. Shinji was thinking he had gotten the upper hand for being a captain and thus being faster and stronger than most seated officers. But Konami did the same thing and Shun-Pyo'd behind him and attacked the same way but faster, catching him off guard. Konami's Zanpakuto slashed across Shinji's back, making him wince at the agonizing pain now shooting up his back. He got into a defensive position and tried to regroup. "Damn it, how's he faster than me? Wait a minute. No, He's not faster, I've just gotten slower. Shinji said to himself. It must be because of this holification. It's taking more out of me than I thought. What's the matter, Captain Hiriko? You seem to be troubling over something. Konami's tone was mocking. It's nothing you have to worry about, because it won't make a difference. The outcome will still be the same. I will beat you. Shinji stated while bringing his Zanpakuto up and pointing it at Konami. Hado number 31, Shakuho, shot of red fire. A small red orb started to form at the tip of Shinji's Zanpakuto, pouring more Ryotsu into the spell than needed. The red orb then shot off, expanding to become a 5-foot-wide fireball, soaring straight towards Konami. With the said Hado spell sailing towards Konami at a rate too fast to dodge, he raises his Zanpakuto and yelled out a counter-attack. Bakudo number 39, Enkosen, Arc Shield, a circular spinning dull yellow energy disc of condensed Ryotsu formed in front of him. Boom! Shinji's Hado spell had collided with Konami's shield, forcing him back. However, Shinji kept his ground. With the distraction the explosion caused, he was going to charge Konami, but he stopped as he spotted something shiny in the corner of his eye. What the? His eyes widened in shock, as he looked down to see a blade sticking out of his lower abdomen. His eyes followed the trail of the blood to see who had stabbed him. His gaze finally settled on the only person in Seireiji to have silver hair. It was Jin Ichimaru. To make matters worse, Jin was waving at him and giving him a look with his famous squinted eyes and fox-like grin of his. Now, I can't have you go and injure one of my teammates, can I? Jin said. Before Shinji could say anything, Jin retracted his sword from within him and made the cut deeper. Blood splashed onto the ground, making a very gruesome puddle at Shinji's feet. Damn him, falling over, he used the last bit of strength left in him to stab his Zanpakuto into the ground to keep him from completely passing out. I cannot keep going, I am at my limit and this damn holification is helping much either, he thought. You know, maybe I should keep Hiyori as a little test subject. Aizen mused aloud. His calm tone caused Shinji to snap. Aizen! Shinji yelled as loud as he could. As he prepared to kick off the ground, he started into another coughing fit, just as Hiyori had done not long ago. This time he couldn't keep himself standing as he finally fell to the ground, coughing up more of the white substance. It then started to form some kind of bone-like mask over his face. Damn it! I can't move, Shinji thought, as he was still coughing. Aizen meanwhile was taking a mental note to what was happening to his so-called captain. I thank you, Captain, that I was able to get under your skin so easily. Your heightened emotional state actually makes the holification proceed at a much faster rate. Konami, go ahead and kill him, he ordered. With the order given, Konami gripped his Zanpakuto and walked over to the now prone Shinji. Without any hesitation, he lifted his blade above his head and brought it down. Nage, Benihime, a crimson-colored shield suddenly appeared and blocked Konami's attack. Jumping back to Aizen's side, Konami sheathed his sword. Standing in front of them was none other than Kazuki Urahara and Tessai Tsukabishi. It looks like I arrived just in time, Urahara said in a serious manner. Ah! Captain Urahara. It's so good to see you, Aizen said, putting a smile on his face. Cut the act, Aizen. I was listening to everything you said. Good, that will keep me from repeating myself. So how can I help you with? And do make it quick, I really must get going. Tell me, what do you intending on doing when you get a hold of the Hogyoku? What I intend on doing? That's a good question. What does one do when they obtain great power? It depends on the person, but why don't you enlighten me on what you're going to do, Aizen? It is quite simple if you think about it. If you have all the power in the world, you do what everyone would do if given the opportunity. You become a god. So you want to become a god? Yes. You see, I want to rule all three worlds, but to archive my dream I must become a god and replace the old world with a new world, my world. So you're saying that you're going to change the world into your vision? Urahara asked, not liking where this was going. That's precisely what I was thinking. But that doesn't explain why you got rid of Naruto. Urahara was trying to figure out where Naruto fit into all of this. It's not making any sense. My reason for getting rid of Naruto is simple. He knew too much about my plans. Long story short, I had to get rid of him before he became a nuisance. But there's more, isn't there? Urahara asked. He had a feeling something else was going on. So then you knew as well. Naruto was hiding something very important about him. Every captain suspected something about him when he first showed up and began training at the Shinoraijutsuin, Shinigami Academy. Urahara said, "That's nothing new. But have you actually seen his power? The power he holds could even match the gods," Aizen said, replacing his calm voice with a more serious tone. "That's the real reason I had to get rid of him. But I will obtain his power by taking it or forcing him to join me." He whispered the last part to himself. "Come Jin, Konami, we will take our leave now." Turning to leave, they heard Tessai yell out. Hado number 88, Horyugen Kizokushin Tenreiho. Flying dragon striking heaven shaking thunder cannon. A gigantic beam of electrical and spiritual energy shot out of Tessai's palm and headed toward Aizen. Just before it hit, Aizen used Bakudo 81 Danku. Splitting void. A large rectangular wall-like barrier formed in front of Aizen and stopped the Hado spell that was being sent towards him. Aizen, Jin, and Konami used the chaos from the aftermath of the Hado as a chance to escape. Since Shinji and the rest of the group was more important than chasing after Aizen, Urahara and Tessai turned their attention to Shinji, who was now unconscious and still bleeding profusely. "It looks like Aizen used something to turn them into hollows," Urahara stated as Tessai started to heal Shinji. "Tessai, when you're done healing him, please go gather up the others." "Yes, Captain," Tessai replied. It took some time for Tessai to heal Shinji. His wounds were pretty bad. When he was done, he retrieved the rest of the group and brought them over to Urahara and Shinji. While Tessai was busy doing this, Urahara was trying to think of what kind of item Aizen could have used to force the hollow transformations. The only thing that might be able to do that is, no, there's no possible way it can be that. If it is, we're all doomed, he thought, as Tessai finally brought the last of the group over. "So is there anything that you can do, Captain Urahara?" "There is one thing I can try, but I'm not sure if it will work, and we need to get to my lab ASAP. Trying to adequately care for everyone at this point is going to take too long and I'm not sure if we have enough time," he told Tessai. "If time's running out, then I'll have to use that Kido spell." Tessai then proceeded to move past the Shinigamis to make sure they were all touching a point on his body. He gestured for Urahara to come closer. "Grab hold of my arm," Tessai told him. Urahara reached out, touched his arm, and then watched as Tessai placed his pointer and middle fingers on his forehead. Shunken Ito. Instant transmission. There was a flash of light, and then the group disappeared. They reappeared in Urahara's personal lab. Urahara spotted the nearest waste bin and proceeded to vomit into it. "You'll do that the first couple of times until your body gets used to it," Tessai told him while chuckling. "What the hell was that?" Urahara asked weakly. His legs were shaking, so he went to sit in his favorite chair. Immediately he felt relief. That was one of the old forbidden Kido spells. It lets you travel anywhere you have been before. They say that if you are strong enough you can travel to any distance no matter how far. Also, just by sensing anyone's Ryotsu, you can teleport to their exact location, Tessai explained to him. "And may I ask how you know the Kido spell? Would you believe me if I told you it was Naruto?" "Naruto? How did he learn a forbidden Kido?" Urahara yelled out. "I wonder what else that boy is keeping from me." "Well, he told me that he'd snuck into the 1st Division barracks, and, as he puts it, borrowed the list of forbidden Kidos and made his own copies of them. That's Naruto for you. He never was one to follow rules. Let's just never do that again." While waiting for his stomach to settle, Urahara started to explain to Tessai on what he had planned on doing. "All right, now that I feel a bit better, here's what I need you to do. First, you need to place everyone who is infected in the room across the hall. There is more room there. Second, prepare a Ryotsu and sound-resistant Kido barriers. Lastly, when the barriers are up, you may have to prepare yourself to restrain them." Once his orders were given, Urahara stood up and walked into an adjacent room. Tessai did as told, and brought the others to the next room, and carefully prepared the 2 Kido barriers. When he was done, Urahara came into the room. "Is everything ready?" "Yes. But what are you plan on to doing to them?" Tessai asked, curious as to why he had to get 2 different barriers ready. "If Aizen did what I think he did, I'm going to have to use this." Urahara produced a small purplish orb. I'm positive that Aizen somehow snuck into my lab and made a copy of my device. What does it do? Tessai asked him. It can do many things, but one of the most important aspects of this orb is that it can destroy the barrier between Shinigamis and Hollows. When I realized what Aizen had done, I started thinking, if Aizen used a fake one to change them into Hollows, why not use the real one to reverse the process? That makes sense, Tessai said, still a little confused. Alright Tessai, once I start the process, place a restraining Kido on them. If I am correct, this process will be one of the most painful things they've ever endured. Imagine getting surgery without any anesthesia. Ouch! Was all Tessai could say. Urahara used the Hogyoku on them. Then Tessai used a Bakudo number 63, Seijo Sabaku, to restrain them. The process of trying to reverse the hollowification was unimaginable. Both Urahara and Tessai had to wear earplugs. Tessai had to in order to keep the Kido barriers up. However, Urahara wore some because he could not take the screaming anymore. It took about an hour and a half for the screaming to finally stop. With so much strain on their bodies, they all fell unconscious. Urahara then went to check on them and did not like what he saw. Damn it, it didn't work. All it was able to do was stop the hollowification, he yelled out. How much did it stop? Well, from what I could tell, they are still wearing hollow masks. However, Kensai and Mashiro at least reverted to only wearing masks. They were further along with the hollowification than the others, so this is a good sign that the reversal works. But I guess this is how far my device can stop it. I am not even sure if it's permanent. It could start over. The old man in Central 46 never allowed testing on Shinigamis. They labeled it forbidden, Urahara told him, looking around to check what time was. It's already 3 in the morning. He sighed audibly. Well, there isn't much we can do now but let them rest. Both of them left the room, went back to the lab, and sat down in silence for quite some time thinking about what had happened and what to do next. Finally, Tessai decided to break the silence. So what are you going to do now? To tell you the truth, I wasn't expecting this to happen. Well, no one did. True, but before this happened I was on my way to the world of the living. What could you possibly make you want to go to the world of the living? Tessai asked. Let's see how I can put this. Before Naruto left the Soul Society, I gave him 3 things. A Gigai, a Mod Soul, and a Soul Pager. I gave him a Soul Pager so he could keep in touch. I was informing him when they were taking Academy students to the living world and telling him when they were out searching for him, and his status in the Soul Society. Stuff like that. Urahara sighed again and his face formed a serious expression. However, 10 years ago, Naruto sent me a message telling me that Ijuka's class Hollows ambushed him, but he defeated them. He also said they would be back for him. At first, I was worried, but then I started to think. This is Naruto. He can hold himself against Kenpachi at full power. There was nothing to worry about. I was right. The last 10 years have gone by with no messages. Until tonight. A few hours ago, right before I went to get you, I got another message, which stated, and I quote, "Something has happened to me. I need your help." I could not figure it out. What could have happened? Then you guys sounded the alarm and the events tonight transpired. It was when we arrived back here that I had a hypothesis. When Naruto went to confront Aizen, they most likely engaged in battle. The way Aizen put it, he seen Naruto's power whatever it is. However, what if Naruto was too much for Aizen? If he had possessed the fake Hogyoku by then, which I'm now certain he did, Aizen most likely used it on him. So as I asked earlier, what do we do now? I don't know. Everything will eventually sort itself out. Or at least I hope it will. In the meantime, I can't leave them here and let the Gotei get a hold of them. Who knows what they would do to them? Before Tessai could ask another question, a cloaked figure suddenly appeared in the middle of the room. The cloaked figure looked at Urahara and lowered the hood to reveal herself as Yoruichi. Good, you guys are still here, she said. Lady Yoruichi. What seems to be the problem? Tessai asked. The word is out that Kazuki and you are going to be arrested for the use of a forbidden Kido spell and the illegal experiments on fellow Shinigamis. Just what the hell did you do? No, forget it. You do not enough time to explain. Get what you need and meet me at the underground training grounds, she told them. But what about Shinji and the rest of the group? Urahara asked her. Just leave them to me. I will take them and wait for you. So where are they? Urahara told her where they were resting and Yoruichi went to retrieve them. A moment later, before Urahara had even moved to get up, Yoruichi called out to him. "Oh, by the way, please bring about 10 Ryotsu blocking gi guys. We're going to need them." Urahara grabbed the requested items and a few necessities, and together he and Tessai shunned Piyode towards the training grounds. The moment Urahara and Tessai arrived on the grounds, Urahara got a smack on the head, and Tessai got one of Yoruichi's death glares as she put her hands on her hips. "Now that you're here, explain," she said in a tone that meant no excuses. "Well, you see, I was on my way to the bar." Yoruichi and Tessai had sweat drops sliding down their heads. Urahara clearly didn't want to tell her he was really on his way to the living world to see Naruto. "That's when I felt Shinji's Ryotsu spike." He then explains what had happened to Shinji, and how Aizen was behind it all. When he finished, Yoruichi was shaking her head and had a frown on her face. "So Aizen did it again. First was my Naruto." She heard Urahara snickering and shot him a death glare to shut him up. "As I was saying, first it was Naruto, and then them." She indicated the still unconscious Shinagamis on the ground. "Now he's framing you, and Tessai is being charged for using forbidden Kido spells. It figures Aizen would do something like this, but can I ask you something?" Urahara said. "What? Why are you helping us? If they found out you helped us escape, you could be put in prison or even executed." Yoruichi was silent a moment before replying. "Firstly, you two are my best friends since we were kids, and second, how could you even ask me about the risks? I know you would do the very same thing if you were in my shoes." Urahara nodded in agreement. "Also, someone once told me that those who break the rules are scum, but those who abandon their friends are worse than scum." Urahara smiled as he remembered Naruto saying those exact words to him once. "I know if he was still here he would do everything in his power to save you right now. Not just you, but every one of his precious people. But enough about Naruto. We will be able to see him once we get to the world of the living." "Wait, you're coming with us?" Urahara asked. "Well, yes. I thought that was obvious." Yoruichi's tone held the slightest bit of impatience. "Now come on guys. We have to get going before they find us." "But what about everything you have here? You are not just some ordinary Shinigami. You are a captain of the 2nd Division, commander of the Onitsukido, Corrections Corps, and the Executive Militia. Hell, you're even the head of your clan and you're just going to throw it all away," Urahara exclaimed. "Don't worry about me. I gave up all my titles the minute I saved you guys. It doesn't really matter what I do now. To tell you the truth, if Naruto didn't stop me 10 years ago I would have left with him in a heartbeat." She then turned away from them to walk towards a boulder to lean on. "Now that we are done talking, you can go ahead and open a Senkaimon so we can get the hell out of here." "Why do I have to do it?" Urahara complained. "1. I don't feel like it, and 2, because I said so," she ordered him with one of her trademark grins. Fine, I'll do it," he grumbled as he walked to an open area. "Just be ready to leave when it's open." As they waited, Tessai used the opportunity to talk to Yoruichi. "If I may, Lady Yoruichi, can I ask you a question?" "Just call me Yoruichi when we are alone." "Lady" makes me sound old, but go ahead. "Sorry, old habits die hard. However, regarding my question, what exactly are you going to do when we arrive in the human world? Are you going to stay with us, go on your own, or look for Naruto?" he asked her. Tessai had a feeling he already knew the answer, but he was curious as to what her response would actually be. Yoruichi suddenly found an interest in a spot on the ground. She wouldn't look at him when she replied. "At first I was going to find Naruto. But once he finds out that I'm leaving Soifan behind." There was sadness in her voice. Tessai gently interrupted her. "I understand. You don't have to finish, but I think you are overreacting. Naruto is not that kind of person. Yes, he might be mad at first, but give him time and explain to him why you did what you did and I'm sure he'll understand." Now Yoruichi raised her eyes from the ground and met his gaze. She gave him a small smile. "Thanks Tessai, I needed that. There, it's all done," Urahara informed them as he returned to the group. He noticed the sad look on Yoruichi's face. "Did I miss something?" "No, it's nothing. So who is going to carry whom?" she asked, not wanting to repeat what Tessai and she were saying. Why don't you carry Lisa and Hiyori? Tessai, you can carry Love and Hachi, and I will carry Shinji and Rose. Does that sound good to you guys? Urahara asked, getting nods from both of them. Alright then, off we go. Exiting the Senkaimon, Yoruichi was the first to ask. So what do we do now? She felt more than a little lost, as it's been almost a century had passed since last she was in the living world. Well, for starters, we need to find someplace to hide them from the Godate 13 before they wake up, Urahara said. This needs to be our top priority. Who knows how long it will take them before they figure out that we left and start looking for us. Any ideas where to start looking, or is there a place you had in mind, Mr. Urahara? Tessai asked him. Well, if my memory serves me right, humans like to keep big houses in which they store things in. I think they call them warehouses or something, and they tend to leave some abandoned. If we could find one, we would probably be able to hide out there. Now going a little off topic here, what's with the Mr. Urahara? He asked. Just being formal since we're no longer captains and there's no point to call you captain, Tessai answered. Whatever. Anyways, we should get going. The town has changed a lot since I've last been here, so finding a warehouse might take a while. The others nodded and they shunned-po'd away. Unknown to the group, a dark figure was crouching in the shadows, listening to the whole exchange. He opened his eyes. He revealed two crimson-colored eyes with black slits. So he came after all. But why did he bring the others? Most specifically her. Why would he bring Yoruichi? I can't let her see me. Not like this, the shadow-covered figure said. Standing up from his crouching position, the clouds moved, letting the moon shine just enough light on the shadowed figure to reveal that he was wearing some kind of mask over his face. He stretched out what appeared to be wings, and then brought them back in to wrap around him like a robe, cloak. They're back. The figure stepped back, letting the darkness engulf him again as he disappeared into the night. 20 minutes later, Kazuki, Tessai, and Yoruichi were standing in front of a two-story-high warehouse with cement gray walls. They were still carrying their unconscious friends over their shoulders. There were windows along all the four sides on both levels. Most of them were cracked or hanging halfway out of the frame. The roof was made of tin and was a dark gray color. The door was a large thick gray tin door with the number 13 stenciled on it, and it had handles that enabled the door to slide up. So this is where we'll be staying. Yoruichi was clearly not pleased with the location. The thought of staying in an unclean abandoned warehouse did not sit well with her. It's a start, Urahara said. Just until I can get enough money to open up the shop I was thinking about when we were looking for this place. If you don't like it, then you can be my guest and leave. I might take you up on that offer. Who knows, maybe I can bunk with Naruto. She joked, only to see the eyes of Tessai and Urahara both look at the ground. What, did I say something wrong? Urahara sighed deeply. Look, Yoruichi. There is no easy way to say this, especially to you, so I'm just going to tell you flat out. But let's go inside first. Okay. With that said, they all walked towards the warehouse and slid open the door and walked in. The inside was surprisingly well kept. It was better looking than the outside. It was mostly empty, with a few boxes scattered throughout the space. Finding a spot near the door, they gently set Shinji and rest of the group down on the floor. All right, talk. What's wrong with Naruto? Yoruichi asked Urahara. Okay, bear with me here. Before all this happened to Shinji and the rest of the group, I got a message from Naruto. What do you mean you got a message from Naruto? A slightly mad Yoruichi asked. Before he left 10 years ago, I gave him a soul pager so we can contact each other if something happened. So exactly when were you planning on telling me this? She said, not liking where this conversation was leading. Just let me finish. Then you can ask me whatever questions you have when I'm done, Urahara told her. Fine, she said, folding her arms across her chest. As I was saying, Naruto sent me a message saying that something had happened to him. At first I could not figure out what could have transpired, but with everything that I have seen earlier tonight, and hearing about what Aizen had done to Shinji and the others, I started thinking, if Aizen had the fake Hogyoku when he and Naruto fought, he might have used it on him. Yoruichi then remembered what Naruto had written in the letter he had given her before he left. Hang on a minute. Does this Hogyoku look like a little black orb? She asked. Please say no, I don't want to be right, but I have to know, she thought to herself. Yes, it is. How did you know that? Urahara asked. Well, before he disappeared, Naruto left me a letter. He wrote what he'd been doing and what had happened between him and Aizen. In the letter he mentioned that Aizen used a little black orb on him, but didn't know what it did to him. There was a moment of silence. Then suddenly, Urahara jumped up. So I was right. He did use it on him, and because Naruto has a fast healing process, the hollowification probably took much longer than it did on Shinji. Nevertheless, if it's true then the process has already started, he exclaimed. The moment the words were out of his mouth, Yoruichi ran towards the warehouse doors but she was stopped when Urahara shunned Pioed in front of her. Yoruichi, I know you want to see if he is okay. I do too. But if he's going through the hollowification, we would have sensed him the moment we arrived. Either he found a way to Hueco Mundo or he's dead. Urahara said the last part with a completely somber tone. As for Yoruichi hearing that last part, she had mixed emotions. Sadness and anger rushed through her simultaneously. How could she possibly give up on one of her longtime friends? Especially someone such as Naruto? Naruto, who came into their lives, their boring lives and brought excitement to it. Every day was always new and adventurous when he was around, and she refused to go back to dull and boring. The last 10 years had been bad enough, but to never see Naruto again. Well, Yoruichi didn't think she could bear it. Kazuki, get your ass out of my way or I'll make you, she threatened him. Yoruichi just lee. He was cut off by Yoruichi punching him the gut, and causing him to fall to his knees, whimpering in pain. You may have given up on him, but I'm not, and I never will. Naruto would never give up on us, so why should we give up on him? If you were one of his true friends you wouldn't need to think about helping a friend, just like I did when I saved you. With that said, she ran towards the door and left in search of Naruto. Urahara slowly got up, wincing from the blow that Yoruichi had dealt him. She's right, if I was a true friend, I wouldn't have to think twice. If anybody could save Naruto from what he is about to become, it is her. I just hope she will be okay, because I have got a bad feeling about this. If Naruto really is going through the hollowification, then we are all in for a fight. Meanwhile, Yoruichi was panicking. Well, not panicking, more like freaking out, because she knew that Naruto was in trouble and she had no clue where to find him. She had looked in every nook and cranny in the entire town twice with her super speed, and she hadn't found him, or even a clue to his whereabouts. She was currently standing on the tallest building in Karakura town looking over the town, debating whether to go back to Urahara or keep looking for Naruto. I don't know what to do. I've been looking all over this damn town, and still cannot find him. Damn it, where are you Naruto? She thought. Then, as if Kami herself was listening to her and giving her a sign, she heard a noise ring out through the town. R. Yoruichi quickly turned to face the direction where the sound came from. What was that? It sounded like a hollow. She was going to investigate, but stopped when she saw a bear and wolf-like hollow on the street below her. When did those hollows come from? I didn't even sense them. Are my senses becoming dull in this place? Hey, it looks like they found him, the bear-looking hollow said to the wolf hollow. Why are we even risking all of this just for one Shinigami? Is he really worth it? The wolf hollow asked. Yoruichi was now interested in what they were saying, so she shunned Pioed as close as she could without alerting them. Weren't you listening to Takeo? This is not just any regular Shinigami. This one has the power of a Shinigami, but he also has the power of a hollow. A Shinigami with hollow powers. Are they talking about Naruto? Yoruichi wondered. So what, I'm going to risk my ass for just this one soul. You're such an idiot. If we eat this soul we can advance to the next level, maybe even Vasto Lord. I don't know about this. Just come on, you big baby. Alright fine, and I'm not a baby. I'm just trying to keep my ass alive. With that said both of them left in the direction in which the loud roar had come from. Unknown to them was that the purple-haired goddess was following right behind them. Yoruichi heard the sounds of battle and death when she finally stopped following the bear and wolf hollows. She carefully moved closer to the clearing. She could see a tall man surrounded by the two hollows, and about a dozen other hollows were closing in fast. She took a risk and went in even closer to get a better look at the man. She could see that he was wearing a pair of black sandals with his toes and ankles showing. His pants were all black and ended at his lower calf. His chest was bare, But what really caught her attention was the black bat-like wings on his back. On his shoulders there were some weird tattoos connecting to his upper back just above his veins. On his arms, he wore a pair of fingerless gloves, and his fingernails looked as if they were sharp as claws. When she finally looked at his head, her eyes widened as far as they could as she eyed the man's unruly spiky sunshine blonde hair that looked just like Naruto's, but a bit longer and two long bangs going back. There's no way Naruto, or whoever that is, can possibly take on 14 hollows. Especially these ones. They look like they're at least a Juka's class. I've got to help him, she thought to herself. Preparing herself to engage a hollow closest to her position, but was stopped when someone started to talk. Tisk, tisk. Tisk Naruto Uzumaki. You know, you're very hard to find. My gang and I have been looking for you for the past couple of days, the mysterious voice said. Involuntarily, Yoruichi let out a gasp. That's Naruto? But he looks so different? The now revealed Naruto narrowed his eyes. That voice, is that you, Takeo? Ah, so you remembered me, I'm honored, the voice said, walking into the clearing. He was a hollow, standing at about 5 feet, 11 inches, with white spiky hair with one bang hanging over his dragon-like mask. He had on what looked to be like some knight armor made of the bones of a dragon. On his shoulders, you could see dragon-like hands with a white cape attached to it hanging behind him. His chest was protected by a plate made of white-colored bone. This same bone also adjourned his arms and legs. His hands were white as well, with his fingers in the shape of dragon claws. His boots looked like regular knight boots. It appears you live up to your name, Takeo Shiroryu no Shumetsu, White Dragon of Death. I guess I do, don't I? Enough about me. How about you tell me how you really got your powers? If you cooperate, I might actually spare this little shithole you call a home. I told you already. You must became a vast. I did that already. What you are looking at is my Vasto Lord form, and I still do not have powers like yours. Now tell me how you really got your powers, he thundered. Then a moment later, Takeo sighed and shook his head a little. Sorry about that little outburst. Sometimes I can't control my own anger. To tell you the truth, I don't know how I got my new powers. You don't know how you got your powers? You think I'm going to believe that bullshit? For the past 10 years since that day we met, I was nothing but a regular hollow. I was amazed to see a Shinigami with hollow powers. I remembered asking you, and then about you, how you got them, and you told me once I got strong enough, once I become a Vasto Lord, I would have powers like a Shinigami. I did what you said. I've done it faster than any hollow ever did. I became a Vasto Lord in 10 years, 10 fucking years, and made a name for myself. Shiroryu no Shumetsu. Now you're telling me you don't know how you got your powers. That's about right. Takeo sighed. Alright, I guess we're going to have to do this the hard way then. With the snap of his fingers, half of the hollows behind Naruto charged towards him. A lion-like hollow was the first to reach him. It lunged towards him with its talons, only for Naruto to rotate clockwise in 90 degrees. He dodged the attack and at the same time swung his left arm up, slicing through the hollow's arm and neck, killing it instantly. Blood gushed from its neck and arm as the appendage fell off, hitting the ground with a heavy thud. Naruto then shunned Pio'd away just as a fist slammed into the spot he was only a second earlier. Every other hollow was looking around frantically, trying to find where Naruto had disappeared. He's above you, Takeo informed them. However, it was too late for a bear-like hollow. As soon as it looked up, a fist slammed right into its mask, smashing it and killing the hollow right on the spot. It burst into little black particles. Naruto started to stand up, only to see a yellow beam heading towards him. He quickly jumped out of path of the attack, rolling back onto his feet, looking at the hollow that had shot the Sero at him. So you want to play like that, huh? Then take this. Naruto opened his hand as a little red and black ball formed. He placed his arm in front of him. Within seconds, the little ball had expanded to the size of a basketball. He gave the hollows one last look, and smirked from beneath his mask. Sero. A red and black beam shot from Naruto's hand wide enough to engulf 5 hollows in the way, along with a good portion of the forest. When the Sero finally died down, the hollows that were in the direct path of the shot were nowhere in sight. On the ground, a long crater trail was formed when the Sero that had touched the trees had caused the trees to be destroyed as well. Mawahaha, 7 down, 8 to go, Naruto said. His tone was filled with bloodlust. Meanwhile, the rest of the hollows stood frozen in fear. They couldn't believe what they had just seen. Everyone was dying off like a bunch of flies. They stood there staring at Naruto, but once he turned to face them, they all got another good look at his eyes, and they could have sworn there was a giant crimson fox with blood crimson eyes just like Naruto's with 9 swirling tails behind him. I don't know about the rest of you, but I want to live, one of the hollows yelled. I agree. Then how about we get the hell out of here, another one said. With that being said, the remaining hollows all decided to retreat to Hueco Mundo. Turning around, each one was greeted with a clone of Naruto. Are those real clones or afterimage? Both Takeo and Yoruichi wondered. Fools, you think you could escape from me, the clones said in unison. The hollows didn't reply, they were too much in shock, as the one thing they were trying to run from was blocking their only escape. I always wanted to know what happens to a hollow when its mask is removed, Naruto said with a smirk under his mask. That was when the clones all grabbed hold of the hollow's mask in front of them. What or why you doing? One hollow said in fear. Weren't you listening? I'm going to take off your mask. What? You can't be Sari Arg, the hollow started to say, but stopped forcefully once one of the clones started to pull on his mask. I don't believe it, he's actually going through with it, Takeo thought. Erg! All the other hollows started to yell out in agony. Yoruichi closed her eyes, for she could not stand to watch. Even if they were hollows, they did not deserve this kind of torture. Why are these masks on so tight? One of Naruto's clones said. Let go. Let go of my maw. That was the last thing the hollows said because the clones, one by one, were finally able to tear off all their masks. Humph, it's about time, another clone said before they all disappeared. Yoruichi, who was still not looking, finally decided to open her eyes and look since it had gotten quiet all of the sudden. What she saw made her eyes widen in shock. 7 hollow bodies were on the ground without their masks on. She could see the 7 Narutos with the masks in their hands fall and hit the ground as the clones dispelled. He did it, he actually did it, Yoruichi said. She didn't know what to think or do. Until that moment, she had never in her life seen a hollow without its mask before. Huh. I guess nothing happens when you remove the mask. Or maybe it was because they were weak. He then looks at Takeo. How about it, Takeo, you want to test out my new theory? And what is that? What would happen if a Vasto Lord mask was, accidentally, removed? Was all he managed to say, because a fist came out of nowhere and Takeo had to dodge at the last second. Man, that guy is fast. I didn't even see him move, he thought to himself, as he ducked under a kick aimed for his head. What's the matter, can't keep up with me? No, that's not it, Takeo said as he crossed his arms to block a powerful punch that cracked his bone like armor, forcing him to slide back. You just caught me off guard, he told Naruto as he rubbed his arm, taking his cape off and dropping it on the ground. Now let's do this, he finished saying. He charged towards Naruto with his fist at back as Naruto prepared to counterattack. Bam! Both their fists collided, causing a minor shock wave strong enough for Yoruichi to stumble back a bit, but it did not stop there. The moment after the first punches were thrown, they just kept going. Punch after punch, kick after kick. It was like they both could anticipate each other. With each punch and kick, which they threw at each other, it caused increasing shock waves that grew ever stronger. Soon enough the ground, along with the trees, was starting to crack, break, and tear apart. Yoruichi was dumbstruck. As far as she knew, no one but Kenpachi and the head commander were able to go toe-to-toe with Naruto. Now this hollow was engaged in battle with him, and by the looks of it, the two seemed pretty evenly matched. At that moment, Takeo and Naruto finally separated. They each regarded one another, as they took a short break. Both of them were breathing heavily. You're pretty strong. I guess it's true what they say about Vasto Lords. Well, what it says in the book anyway. No one has ever met one in person. If Takeo could smirk, he would have right then. You're welcome, I guess, but how about we finish this? Didn't you want to know how I got powers? Forget it. I'll just find out how to get them myself. As long as I can kill you, I'll be fine, Takeo said, bringing his arm up and pointing it towards Naruto. Seeing what he was about to do, he lifted up his own arm, mimicking him. Two orbs formed. A white one in Takeo's hand and a crimson-black one in his. Yoruichi, sensing how much Ryotsu they were charging into both of their attacks, decided now was a good time to make her presence known. She ran from her hiding place and sprang out into full view of Naruto and Takeo. "Both of you have to stop. If you shoot those Seros, it could destroy this whole town," she yelled out to both of them. Naruto's eyes widened underneath his mask as he looked at her. "Yo Yoruichi," Naruto said, completely shocked to see her there. Unfortunately for Naruto, Takeo was not so easily distracted. He used the opportunity to launch his attack. "Sero!" Takeo shouted out. Naruto, distracted by Yoruichi's arrival, didn't see it coming. The next part seemed to happen in slow motion, as he heard Takeo's voice yell out his attack. Naruto tore his gaze away from Yoruichi to face Takeo. His eyes widened as he saw a white Sero heading straight towards him. He released his own Sero in order to try to stop or slow it down, but to no avail. Takeo's Sero soon engulfed it, along with him. "Naruto oh!" Yoruichi yelled out when she saw the Sero hit Naruto. When the Sero finally died down, there was nothing left of Naruto. Yoruichi was numb with shock. She had just witnessed the love of her life die right in front of her, and it was all her fault. She was trying to save the town from being destroyed in the crossfire, but she didn't expect him to die because of not attacking. She fell to her knees, sobbing in anguish. "It's my fault, it's my fault." She kept repeating those same words as tears started to fall down her cheeks. She heard the sound of footsteps, and felt someone standing over her. "Ha! If I had known it would be that easy to kill him like that, I would have shot one earlier and ended it. But then again it was you who distracted him." He then looked down at the crying Yoruichi. "You gave me the opportunity to shoot it in the first place, so thanks." Yoruichi was just ignoring him and looking down at the ground. Tears were still flowing freely down her cheeks and dripping off her chin. "I should kill you as well, but letting you live knowing that you're the one that killed him is worse than death, so I'll let you live," Takeo told her as he went to find his cape. Surprisingly, his cape was not destroyed or even damaged, as it was caught on a tree that was still standing. Dusting it off, he put it on and looked at Yoruichi. "Just to let you know, crying won't bring him back, it'll just make it worse. Trust me, I know," he said, whispering the last part to himself. With nothing else to say, he opened a black portal back to Hueco Mundo and left. "How can I go on living now? It's my fault he died, maybe I show." "Yo Yoruichi." A familiar voice called out to her. Yoruichi's head shot towards the direction where the voice was coming from. She saw a bloody hand grab hold of a tree trunk. She noticed that the hands looked like claws. Hope surged in her. She saw the hand pull more of the body into view, and within seconds, it revealed the one person she had sworn died in front of her not even 5 minutes ago. "Naruto!" She yelled as she ran towards him but stopped in shock when she saw the condition he was in. Naruto was pretty beat up. His pants torn to his knees and his sandals destroyed. On his body there were some SCS and cuts with some minor burns, however his left arm was completely gone from the shoulder down. His right arm looked cut up and burned. His mask was basically destroyed. All that was left was a piece that was covering his left eye from his forehead to the top of his cheek. "Hey, what's wrong, Yoruichi? Why are you crying? You know it hurts me to see you cry," he told her between his bouts of heavy breathing. Yoruichi wiped away her tears as she walked towards him. "You know, you're the biggest idiot I know. You're worried about me crying in the condition you're in. What this? This is nothing compared to what I used to get when I was Al." He started to fall but Yoruichi caught him. "Naruto," she shakes him. "Naruto?" Then she noticed that he had lost a lot of blood. He was quite pale and his left shoulder was still bleeding profusely. Yoruichi shifted and got a better grip of Naruto so she could move more comfortably. "Just hold on, Naruto." She then shunned Pioed to the only people she knew who could help him. "Ha ha ha, you know Naruto, you're heavier than you look," Yoruichi said, clearly struggling to carry Naruto and trying to get him out of the forest as she jumped from branch to branch. Naruto, who had been quiet up to this point, decided to speak. "Yoruichi, I would like you to put me down now." "Oh, you're awake. That's a relief. Do not worry, we're almost out of this damn forest. For some strange reason it feels like we're going in circles," she said, noticing the mark she had purposefully carved onto a tree soon after Naruto and she had vacated the battle site. That's because we are going in circles. Now can you please put me down? Naruto asked. I would, but we have to hurry and get you to Tessai so he can heal your shoulder. In case you've forgotten, you just had your arm blasted off not that long ago, Yoruichi reminded him. Yeah, I know. Losing an arm or leg is easy, but growing them back is a. What the hell do you mean growing them back? Yoruichi began saying as she turned her head to look at Naruto, only for her to see the said person flexing his left arm, which was now covered in dried up blood. WHH, how the hell did you get your arm back? After that attack, your entire left arm was gone, and now you magically have a new one like it never happened. And what do you mean that we have been going in circles? Yoruichi asked this all in one large breath, dropping Naruto on the branch they were resting on. The reason we've been going in circles is, Naruto paused while he stood up and looked straight into Yoruichi's golden cat-like eyes. She in turn looked deep into his ocean blue orbs, and was so mesmerized by them that she failed to notice him take a step closer to her. Because of my barrier around the forest. I made it so no one would be in any real danger. What barrier? I didn't sense any barrier when I arrived here. Yoruichi replied, not breaking eye contact. That was when she noticed his pupils narrow into slits. She gasped in surprise. That's because it is one of my new abilities I've developed. I can make a barrier that masks any trace of Ryotsu of anyone in it, he told her. That's a great ability to have when you're on the run. Yoruichi replied as she decided to jump off the tree branch to the ground. Hey Hokage, we have a little problem, Naruto told him. Naturo sighed. What kind of problem do you have now? It had better not be that you are not in control of my body. That problem is getting old. Naruto told his hollow side. It's our body, our body. Now say it with me, our booty. Naruto replied to his remark. Just tell me what the problem is already, Naruto said, getting impatient. He also did not want Yoruichi to think he was ignoring her, as she hated when people ignored her. Meanwhile, Yoruichi was still talking. So you can drop the barrier and we can head to the warehouse where Kazuki and the others are staying at. Unless you want some more alone time with me. Yoruichi teased as she looked back at Naruto, only to find that he was completely ignoring her. Is he ignoring me? She wondered. Alright, don't get your panties in a bunch. What I was trying to tell you was. What did you call it again? Damn, it's on the tip of my tongue. It had to do with that stupid fox. Shit. You mean my demon transformation? Naruto exclaimed. Yeah. That stupid thing. When it happens, I really don't care, so I wasn't paying attention when you first told me about it, Naruto replied. There's no time to talk. Yoruichi is in trouble. Wait, what do you mean? Naruto broke his mental link with his inner hollow to warn Yoruichi. Hey Earth to Naruto? She called out to him but got no reply. Humph, so he wants to keep on ignoring me, all right, she thought to herself as smirk crept up on her face. Jumping back onto the branch Naruto was still on, Yoruichi then positioned herself so she was facing Naruto, who was sitting there with his eyes closed. Let's see him ignore me after this. Yoruichi carefully made her way over to get close enough to put her arms around his neck and slowly bring her face closer to his. Just when their lips were about to touch, Naruto's eyes shot open, and seeing Yoruichi's face inches from his own, startled him to the point where he lost his footing and he fell from the branch he was sitting on. He hit the ground with a loud thud. Wah wah wah. Ow Yoruichi, what the hell was that? I was seeing if you were paying attention to what I was doing. Apparently you weren't, she told him with deep red blush on her face. Luckily for her, her skin was dark so it wasn't too noticeable. To see if I was, oh just forget it. Naruto said as he stood up. Yoruichi, there's something important I need you to do for me, so can you come down here? Yeah, just give me a sec. Yoruichi said. She knew it was something significant in how serious Naruto was acting. He never acted that way normally. The only time he was serious was either when he was training, or if someone threatened to hurt a person who was precious to him. Yoruichi jumped down from tree branch and landed in front of Naruto. She heard him whisper something. Before she could ask, Naruto motioned for her to stand, and when she did, he placed his right index and middle finger on her forehead. Once his fingers touched her, a small green light glowed. What was that for? She asked, clearly confused by what he had done. The smirk on his face was not helping either. "Naruto, what are you planning?" was all she could manage to say before she fell asleep. It stills need a little more work," he thought to himself as he caught Yoruichi so she would not fall over. He picked up her bridal style and walked towards the tree where they were standing by, and carefully placed her so she was leaning against the trunk. "Alright, now it's time to get you out of here," Naruto said to the now passed out Yoruichi as he took both the index and middle fingers from both hands, and put them in a cross formation in front of him. Kage Bunshin no Jutsu. Shadow Clone Jutsu. Suddenly, 5 Naruto clones appeared around the real one. "You," Naruto pointed to the one standing directly in front of him. "What do you need, boss?" the clone replied. "I need you to take Yoruichi to my hideout," Naruto ordered. "Hi," the clone said, picking up Yoruichi bridal style and flash stepping to Naruto's home. "As for the rest of you, prepare the special summoning jutsu," he told the remaining clones. "But boss, that jutsu isn't ready yet. No one knows what will happen when it's used," one of his clones informed him. "I know, but there's no other choice. If I cannot take over my demon side, we will not have any chance of beating Aizen and the rest of his damn army of hollows. I have been suppressing my inner demon for far too long. It literally takes up half of my Ryotsu just to keep it from taking over. Now that I have to keep that damn hollow in line. Fuck off, I didn't ask you to either. It is harder to concentrate and keep it from taking over. That is the reason I made this jutsu. Okay, so maybe it is a do or die type situation here, but I also designed it so that if I can successfully overpower my inner demon, the jutsu won't do anything. However, if I should fail, this jutsu will summon a door to the realm of darkness where my demon and I will be sealed for the rest of eternity with no way of returning." Naruto explained all of this to his clones and his inner hollow, if he was even listening at all. "Alright, we understand. We will get started right away," the clones replied in unison. They carefully arranged themselves in position, and proceeded to begin the long series of hand signs. "So how will it all go down? Are you going to fight it or what?" Naruto asked. "So you were listening, that's a first," Naruto said, surprised that his inner hollow was paying any attention, because most of the time it didn't care for anything if it didn't involve him gaining something in return. Yeah, just answer the damn question. I'm not sure myself. I have never seen my demon side face to face. I just suppressed it. Maybe I was too scared to actually fight it at the time because I knew that ultimately, I would fail," Naruto replied. "So what made you change your mind now, especially like a time like this?" "I guess, my only reason is, that I actually found something to fight for, something to protect with my life. Even if I happen to fail, at least I am able to stop another crisis from happening," he said with a smile on his face. "Don't let this get to your head when I say this, but you're not alone right now." "Really, gee, I wonder who is with me right now," Naruto retorted. There was an edge of sarcasm in his voice that did not go undetected by his hollow. "What do you mean who, me? I may be in your head because I'm forced to be, but whatever happens to you or our body, mostly the body part, affects me too. So I say let that demon freak inside you come out so we can kick its ass 7 ways from Sunday," Naruto exclaimed. "Yeah, also, thanks. Yeah, but just to let you know, after this is all over and we win, I am going to take control over the body, so don't get your hopes up." While Naruto and his inner hollow were having a little chat with each other, the Naruto clones were just finishing a series of very complex hand gestures. When they were finished, they informed Naruto that the preparations were complete. Naruto gave them a nod and told them to begin. With a few more last hand signals, they proceeded with the summoning by slamming their hands on the ground in front of them. "Kami Nankan no Jutsu. Divine Barrier Technique," Naruto's clones yelled out. Soon after their hands made contact with the ground, a black dot, about the size of a fist, appeared in front of each of Naruto's clones. The dots then all started to move across the ground, and as they moved, they left a trail behind them. When they met their destination, the dots ended up forming a circle around Naruto. The circle then turned white and started to glow, and then shot up from the ground, forming a clear white dome-like barrier that encased Naruto inside. One of the clones stood up after the barrier was complete, and tried to see if one of his hands would go through it. As he approached it, he stuck his hand out, only for it to be stopped by the barrier. "Okay boss, the barrier jutsu seems to be working," the clone told Naruto. Alright, but I won't be able to tell you when to use the summoning jutsu. If you start to feel the Kyuubi chakra at some point and it starts to get stronger, that will be a good sign for you to start the summoning then. You got that? Hi. All the clones said in unison. If we have to resort in using the summoning, I want you to use the strongest chakra you have. And tell Yoruichi and the rest what happened. Also tell Yoruichi that I'm sorry and I'll never forget her. Naruto told them. A sad look crossed his face, but it was quickly replaced with a look of determination. Are you ready to do this? He asked his inner hollow. Humph. I was born ready. Let's go kick some foxtail ass, his inner hollow replied. Naruto mentally nodded his head and closed his eyes. He then proceeded to go into a meditative trance to enter his inner world. After a moment, he opened his eyes and he found himself looking at the last place he ever wanted to see, Konohagakure no Sato, also known as the village hidden in the leaves. What the heck? This isn't my inner world. What is going on? Naruto asked, feeling completely shocked that he was in the one place he used to call home. Don't ask me. 1 second I was in that crappy sewer, and the next I appeared in this place. At least this place looks better. Hell, I'd say it's an improvement, Naruto said. Maybe to you, but to me this is the one place I despise the most. Naruto told Haruto as he glared at his so-called village. But the most important question is, how did it change? I sure as hell didn't. I'm the one who changed it. A deep voice said. Naruto, along with his hollow, both turned around, and to their surprise they were looking at an almost exact replica of Naruto. However, this Naruto's whisker marks were more deeply pronounced and darker. This Naruto also sported crimson-colored eyes with black slits, and nails turned into claws. The other most noticeable part about this Naruto was the pair of blonde fox ears on its head and the 9 blonde tails swishing behind it. I find this place more suitable, don't you agree? Naruto said, with a wicked smile on his face. There is no better place to fight than the one place you called home. He paused for a moment as he walked past them to the edge of the cliff they were standing on, staring at the village below them. In the very same place you died. So you think this place will give you an upper hand when we start this little fight for control over my body? And by the way, who are you? You can't be Kyuubi, because even though she and I should have fused, the fusion apparently stopped when I died, Naruto said. Well, you're half right. The process of the two of you fusing did stop when you died. However, to answer your first question, I am Kyuubi, or should I say, what was left of her? Naruto told them as he turned back to face them. What do you mean by, what was left of her? Naruto asked him. How should I put this so you could understand? Like you said, the process of you absorbing the last Kyuubi. The last Kyuubi? What the hell are you talking about? Naruto asked, interrupting Naruto's explanation. If you would let me finish, I'll tell you. Now, where was I? Ah yes, I remember. When you were absorbing the last Kyuubi, you only absorbed all her demonic chakra, but you never turned into a full demon. This would have completed the transformation of you becoming the next and new Kyuubi. You chose not to accept becoming a demon for fear of rejection even after death. However, the demonic chakra that you have was never used, so thus it started building up as the years went by. Since the Kyuubi before me wasn't there to keep control over it, eventually it would have been too much for your body to handle, and then your body would have exploded from the buildup of too much chakra. Lucky for you that never happened thanks to me. For some odd reason, either your body or your mind created me out of the chakra as a substitute to control it, and for the longest time I did. So now I am the new Kyuubi. Naruto explained. Hang on a minute here. If what you're saying is true, then it was you who was trying to force me into transforming into a demon. Naruto said slowly, trying to absorb the onslaught of information. Yes. I've been trying for the last century, but you have large reserves of Ryotsu that had been keeping me at bay. It wasn't until that man Aizen came along and helped me out significantly by using the Hogyoke that I started to get anywhere. You now have an inner hollow to worry about, and I had thought that you had finally given up and allowed me to take control in the end. However, Naruto now looked disappointed. Even with the hollow, I still proved to be stronger than you, Naruto said with a wise smile plastered on his face. True, you proved to be stronger than I suspected. Therefore, I waited until the time was right. It may have taken 10 more years of waiting, but I finally had a chance, and now here we are. Naruto said this all in a calm tone. Finally, the damn talking is over. Now we can get to the good part where we kick your ass. What we do after that is up to Fishcake here, Naruto said, as Naruto rolled his eyes at hearing his nickname, Fishcake, for the 1000th time. You shouldn't be so overconfident, it makes you sound weak, Naruto stated. Oh, shove it up your ass and let's get this party started, Naruto exclaimed as he dashed towards the so-called new Kyuubi with his fist at back. Bam! Asterisk. The clone that was ordered to take Yoruichi to his boss's hideout was also where he lived too. He was about 3/4 of the way there, and so far everything seemed to be going smoothly. Until the person he was carrying decided to wake up. My head feels weird, Yoruichi said, still half asleep. The clone stopped and set her down. He wanted a break now anyways. Carrying the girl was hard work. I guess that is one of the side effects of boss's new jutsu, Naruto told her. Jutsu? What the heck is a jutsu? Who is this, boss, you're talking about? And Naruto, why the hell did you knock me out again? Yoruichi yelled at the clone, thinking he was Naruto. The clone cringed when she yelled at him. Well, when I say boss it means I'm talking about the real Naruto, since I'm just a clone, Naruto said, scratching the back of his head. There was a pregnant pause, and then Yoruichi spoke. So, you're telling me you're a clone? Naruto nodded. That would mean the real Naruto is where exactly? Yoruichi asked. Well, I could tell you, but I had orders to take you back to his hideout and we clones had to follow orders, he told her. Well, can't you disobey just this once? Yoruichi asked as she put on her best pouting face, the one not even Naruto could ever say no to. Since they were clones of him it should work on this one, she thought. But the clone wasn't so easily swayed. He shook his head at her and crossed his arms over his chest. Sorry Yoruichi, but the boss specifically designed his clones to not fall for that face so easily, Naruto informed her. Yoruichi dropped her head in defeat. She was so going to get Naruto for taking out one of her best tricks she used to get her way. He's a dead man the next time I see him, she thought. Since you're not going to tell me where he is, can you tell me why he made you take me to his hideout? She asked, wondering what Naruto was doing. Yoruichi had a bad feeling about something, and the feeling wasn't going away. My guess is he didn't want you to get hurt, Naruto started to say. Humph. I can take care of myself, thank you very much, Yoruichi interrupted. She had a smug look on her face. I'm sure he knows that too, but there is more than one way to be hurt, Yoruichi. If the boss is doing what I think he is going to do, then you're not the only one who is going to get hurt, Naruto told her. Yoruichi looked at him with a look of confusion on her face. Explain what you mean by that, I don't understand. I will, but only if you come with me to my boss's hideout, he said, trying to trick her into following him. Several minutes went by as Yoruichi started to weigh her options. Okay, I can just leave Naruto's clone and look for him myself. I bet he's still in the park in the same spot he used that jutsu. But on the other hand, I could go with his clone and get all info I need, and then look for Naruto. Yes, that sounds like a much better plan than running off blindly to find Naruto, she thought to herself. So what's it going to be, Haim? Naruto said while at the same time poking her in the arm. Alright, I'll go with you. Yoruichi stood up, pushing the clone away from her, and if I were you, I wouldn't poke me again. She gave him a look that dared him to try again. He didn't. The look on her face almost made him want to run away screaming for his non-existent mommy. Yeah, it's this way, follow me, Naruto said. He started walking. He didn't want to get Yoruichi any angrier than she already was. Not far behind him was Yoruichi, who had a far-off look as she was thinking about how Naruto always went off to do his own thing and did not ask for help. 20 minutes later. It was a long walk for the both of them, neither one spoke for the rest of the journey. After an indeterminate amount of time had passed, they ended up approaching a forest. That was when Yoruichi noticed just how far they were from Karakura town. It was nowhere to be seen in any direction. She then decided to break the silence. How far are we from town? She asked Naruto. We should be about 5 miles from town. Why do you ask? He replied. Just wanted to know why Naruto chose to put his hideout so far from town. Doesn't he live in town too? Yoruichi asked. The boss said it reminded him too much of his hometown when he was still alive, so he wanted to get as far away from it he could, but still close enough so he could still sense if a hollow appeared. Naruto explained to her. Okay. Wait a minute, did you just say when he was alive? She asked, shocked that Naruto remembered his life when he was alive. Yeah, I did. What of it? He asked her, with one eyebrow raised. Well, when a soul is sent to the Soul Society, their memory is wiped clean as a way to give them a fresh start. Until now, there has been no record of anyone who still had their memories. I guess that is true, but let me ask you this. How would you know if your memories were ever lost? Since you were born in the Soul Society Yoruichi, you've never had the luxury of dying. Naruto said as he stopped to look at her. And your point is? She trailed off. Yoruichi didn't know where he was going with this conversation. Well, think about it. If you never had to die and be sent to the Soul Society because you were already born in it, it means you never had memories to lose or remember. So how do you really know if souls in the Soul Society remember their lives when they were alive or not? Perhaps they chose not to tell anyone about them because of what they did or how they died. No one really knows. Naruto told her as they continued walking. Come on, we're almost there. Yoruichi just nodded and followed him. He's right. Even though he is just a clone, he's right. Since I was born in the Soul Society I never died, so how am I to say that there are not souls that remember when they were alive? God, I hate Naruto right now. Making his clones appear to be smarter than me. Humph, when Naruto gets back I really am going to pound him good, she thought. Ah, here we are. Naruto said, bringing Yoruichi out of her thoughts. Now Yoruichi began to take notice of their surroundings. She could see that they were now in the middle of a forest, with trees of all sizes that enclosed them in every direction, but the most noticeable thing in the area was a tree that was about 5 times bigger than the rest. This giant tree was directly in front of them. So where's this so-called hideout? All I see are trees, Yoruichi said. Well, it wouldn't be called a hideout if it was so easy to find, now would it? Just sit back and watch. Naruto told her and then put his hands together into a ram sign, Kai. The moment the words left his lips, the huge tree that was in front of them started to fade away, revealing an entrance to a cave. Yoruichi stared at the clone, open-mouthed. What was that? Some kind of Kido? Or was it that jutsu thing? She asked when she recovered from her minor shock. It's jutsu. I'll explain when we get inside. Naruto said as he began to walk into the cave with Yoruichi not far behind. The cave itself was ordinary. There were rocks all around and stalactites hanging from the ceiling. It was lucky that she was trained in stealth force. It enabled her to see Neiruto's clone making his way deeper into the dark recesses of the cave. Soon, Yoruichi could sense something different as they kept walking deeper into the darkness. It felt like Ryotsu but with something else mixed in with it. She sensed the same thing when Naruto's clone did his hand sign to reveal another entrance. She was going to ask him about it, when she saw a light at the end of the tunnel. Yoruichi automatically raised a hand to shield her eyes from the sudden change of light. Once she got her vision back, she let out a gasp of surprise. She could not believe what she was seeing. The so-called cave was now in an open area. They were on top of a cliff overlooking grass fields as far as her eyes could see, with some boulders here and there. Not far off from the cliff was a forest, and in the middle of it all was a large lake. Well, here we are. The boss's hideout, should I say, where he lives, Naruto said. This is where he lives. How is this even possible? Yoruichi asked, still in shock and awe over the size of the place. This place is huge. Well, he based it off the one Urahara and you made. The only thing he did differently was added more boulders. With the design you guys had, there were far too few boulders in his opinion. Alright. We jump from here. Naruto informed her as he jumped off the cliff. So he made this by himself just by seeing the one Urahara and I made. What can Naruto not do? She asked herself as she moved closer to the edge to see how high it was. If I had to guess, it's about 100-foot drop. I shouldn't need to use my shunpo. Well, here goes nothing. Yoruichi jumped off the edge and was now free falling to the ground below. As soon as she had dropped a few feet, she felt an unseen force pulling her, making her fall faster than she should be. She quickly shunpoed back to the side of the cliff, grabbing onto it, but it didn't help, as whatever was pulling at her made it hard to keep a good grip onto the ledge. It was about now that Yoruichi could hear Naruto's clone calling out to her. Yoruichi, just let go. He yelled out, are you insane? If I let go I'll die, she said, struggling to maintain her already shaky grip on the ledge. Trust me, just let go. Naruto told her. Alright. But you better, she gasped as her grip on the ledge gave out. What surprised her was the pulling sensation she had experienced earlier was no longer present, and she was able to make her way down to the ground with no more trouble. Once on the ground, however, Yoruichi fell to her hands and knees as her whole body began to ache painfully. What was that? It felt like the gravity was stronger, she said between pants. Yes, the gravity is stronger here. That's what's so special about this place. The boss made it so he could control how strong the force the gravity is. Naruto told her, chuckling a little at Yoruichi's minor suffering. Okay, but why can't I move my body? She asked as her body seemed unable to hold her up anymore. She sprawled out on the ground now, laying there like a beached fish and taking deep gasping breaths. Well, you did just jump into a gravity field that was about 5 times as heavier as Earth's gravity. Since your body is not used to it, it put a lot of strain on your muscles. I'll carry you the rest of the way. It's not far now, Naruto said as he bent down to carefully pick her up. He then proceeded to make his way towards Naruto's house. On the way there, he explained to Yoruichi what chakra was and how it is used. When they finally reached the house, the clone went inside and placed Yoruichi on the couch in the living room. So, if chakra is made of spirit and physical energy, then how can Naruto use it if he's just a spirit with no physical body? She asked. Well, Naruto is special. Naruto's clone replied. What do you mean by special? Now Yoruichi was confused. It's not my place to say since I'm just a clone. Now how about we talk about the real reason I had to bring you here? Naruto said, trying to change the subject. Lucky for him, Yoruichi was eager to talk about something else. That's right. You're going to tell me why Naruto didn't want me to be with him. Start talking, clone, Yoruichi said. Naruto gulped and then told her everything he knew. When he was finished, Yoruichi had a very thoughtful expression on her face. So, he was afraid that I would resent him just because he would look like some kind of demon? Why would he think that? She asked, not believing that Naruto would have her as some cold-hearted person. Again, it's not my place to say since it involves my boss's past. Only he can tell you. I'm sorry, Naruto said, with a sad look on his face. It's okay. I'll just have to force it out of him when Naruto gets back here, Yoruichi said as she flexed her palm and crackled her knuckles. Bam! Naruto stopped Naruto by punching him in the gut. A loud, gasping sound came from Naruto as the punch knocked the air out of him. You're too slow, Naruto said as he picked the hollow up by his neck with his right hand. And your hastiness to get into battle is what got you killed, he finished saying as he rammed his left hand through Naruto's chest, only for it to poof into smoke. Kage Bunshin. But I thought hollows could not do jutsu? Naruto was completely caught by surprise by Naruto's clone. Naruto used the distraction to do a sneak attack by shunpoing behind him, but as soon as he appeared behind him, Naruto's tails started to attack him. Shit, Naruto said as he shun-po'd away, dodging the attack. Nice, isn't it, to have a defense even when your back is turned? It's useful when someone tries to pull off a sneak attack, Naruto said as he turned to face Naruto. He noticed that Naruto was nowhere in sight. Then suddenly his ear twitched, and he heard a loud, rumbling sound underneath him and jumped back just in time to dodge Naruto, who had came up from underground, his fist dead and ready. Naruto laughed. Ah yes, the same move you used against Neji. It's too bad for you, my hearing is excellent at catching even the slightest movement. Hell, not even an ant could sneak up on me. You're going to have to try even harder if you want to catch me off guard. Naruto and Naruto put both their index and middle fingers from both hands into a cross formation in front of them. Taju Kage Bunshin no Jutsu. Multiple Shadow Clone Technique. Taju Ryotsu Bunshin. Multiple Spirit Clone. Suddenly, 200 clones appeared around Naruto, 100 Narutos on his left, and 100 Narutos on his right. Who needs to sneak up on you, when we can attack you from every angle? The real Naruto yelled out. Then the clones all started to charge at him as Naruto stood his ground, not flinching once. He just stared at Naruto and Naruto. The first clones to reach him were Naruto's. One of them tried to punch his face, but Naruto simply dodged it by moving his head back. Quick as lightning, Naruto grabbed the clone's wrist and swung him into two Naruto clones with enough force to make them poof away. Several more clones tried to attack him from behind but ended up being impaled by his tails. Chuckling softly to himself, Naruto thought about how stupid and weak these clones were. He decided to take the offensive. "Humph, now it's my turn," he said as he dashed forward, claws ready to strike. While dashing into the crowd of clones, Naruto either hacked or slashed at clones as he ran by them, attacking their necks, driving his claws into their chest or punching them in the face hard enough to kill them or make them poof away. Every now and then he had to dodge a punch or kick, but eventually the smoke for destroying so many clones started to cloud his vision. He ended up stopping and waiting, and the clones ceased their assault on him. That was when his ear twitched and he looked to the right and snatched a kunai out of the air with his right hand. "Heh, so you want to play like that, then let's play," Naruto said with a wicked grin on his face, as he got into a defensive stance with the kunai still in his hand. Just as he got into his stance, kunai from every angle came straight for him. Instead of dodging or deflecting them, he grabbed the first one with his free hand and snatched the next 9 with his tails. With both hands and all of tails armed with kunais, he then started deflecting and dodging the incoming attacks. The attacks came slow at first but soon began to come at a faster rate, which caused Naruto to look like a blur as he deflected the incoming kunais as if it was child's play. "Is this all you got? Come on, at least give me a challenge," Naruto said, mocking them. The next thing he heard was a total surprise, and Naruto couldn't help but widen his eyes at it. Shuriken Kage Bunshin no Jutsu, Shuriken Shadow Clone Technique. Naruto saw several hundred shurikens turn into thousands of shurikens, as the smoke finally disappeared, but Naruto was now seeing something he thought only the Hyuga clan could do. The Hakusho Kaden, 8 trigrams palms revolving heaven. Naruto got into the same kind of stance as the Hakusho and began to spin in place, releasing his chakra when the shurikens came close enough, forming a crimson-colored dome around him that deflecting all the incoming shurikens. "How the hell did you do that? I thought you could not learn any kind of Kekkei Genkai, bloodline limit, jutsus," Naruto asked, completely dumbfounded. "It's true, you can't learn any Kekkei Genkai, but what's stopping anybody from making their own version for their jutsu?" Naruto replied. He stopped spinning and stood up, facing Naruto and Naruto, both of whom were still standing in the same spot as before. He noticed that there were about 10 to 20 clones still surrounding him. Naruto ignored them, and continued speaking. "Take the Hakusho Kaden for instance. All the Hyuga clan does is release chakra and spin around, so I just did the same. The only downside is that I have to use more chakra than they do, but it's still effective, as you can plainly see," Naruto finished. Naruto was silent. "What cat got your tongue? Or, did she keep it?" Naruto said, trying to aggravate Naruto. "It worked." Naruto now glared fiercely at him. "Don't worry, when I take control of your body I'll take good care of her. I'll probably just make her my sex slave or," Naruto started to say, before Naruto's rage took over. "Shut up. Shut your fucking mouth. I'll never let you lay one finger on Her," Naruto yelled at him as loud as he could. A grin formed on Naruto's lips. "Well, considering the position you're in right now, unless you miraculously defeat me, there is nothing to stop me from taking what I want. And I want that sinfully beautiful catgirl of yours," he taunted Naruto. "I will not be defeated," Naruto again yelled out as he PO'd right in front of Naruto with his fist headed straight for the demon's face. Unsurprisingly, Naruto simply dodged his punch by slightly moving to the right. He then brought his right clawed hand up, sending it right through Naruto's chest where his ear rested. Naruto's eyes widened as he let out a gasp of air. "I can't believe you thought that would work. You must be more naive than I." "Poof. What? A Kage Bunshin?" Naruto roared, angry at the deception. Now Naruto could see 3 Narutos running at him. 2 with regular Rasengan and 1 with a different Rasengan. This one kept changing colors from blue to purple and then to red. It was as if the clone and the real Naruto's chakra kept changing form regular to demonic. Naruto charged the clone to the right as it was the closest, but the clone jumped above him and tossed his Rasengan. The other clone did the same. Then the two clones yelled out a chant which confused the demon. Rasen grenade. The two Rasengans that were heading towards him suddenly burst into 20 smaller versions of the Rasengan that were now shooting out in every direction. Naruto, who recovered quickly from his initial surprise, acted quickly. He flashed through some hand signs and ended with a snake sign. Doden. Earth Dome, Earth Release. Earth Dome. The ground below Naruto quickly formed a protective dome of earth around him, which shielded him from the incoming mini Rasengans. The clone above him had no way to dodge the dome, and ended up getting hit by the attack and reverting back to dust. The same thing happened to the other clone, but it jumped in front of the attack, taking the hit for the real one. In the dome, Naruto figured that the attack was over since it was quiet, so he released the jutsu. As for Naruto, he saw that the dome was still intact with some cracks here and there. With lightning speed he made another demonic Rasengan and slammed into the dome, destroying it instantly. With the dome now gone, Naruto rushed in to see the surprised look on Naruto's face as he slammed his red Rasengan into the demon's gut. Eat this. Rasen blast. The Rasengan started to spin fast, making it look like a glowing red ball. A second later, a red blast shot straight through Naruto, destroying the wall behind him. Arrrgh! Naruto yelled in agony as blood trailed down the corner of his lips. There was now a huge hole in his gut. Naruto slowly backed away, as Naruto's body fell to the ground with a heavy thud. He then turned around and walked towards Naruto as the rest of the clones poofed away, no longer needed. Looks like you didn't need me after all, Naruto said to Naruto. Maybe, but something doesn't seem right, Naruto told him with a confused look on his face. And what is that? You didn't get to say anything awesome at the end, like, hasta la vista baby, or, here's a one-way ticket to hell. Naruto laughed at his own witty wordplay. No, you idiot. What I meant was that it's two, Naruto started to say, when suddenly he felt a pulse of chakra coming from behind him. What the hell? Naruto turned around to check on Naruto's body, but all he saw was a fist to the face, which sent him flying into Naruto, and the both of them went sailing through the air, over the cliff, and crashing into some random building below. He almost killed me. He almost killed me, Naruto roared out, causing a shockwave to destroy the Hokage monument. What the hell? I thought he was dead. You fucking blasted a hole clean through him, so how is he still alive and kicking? Naruto complained as he and Naruto climbed out of the rubble of the building they had crashed into. That attack should have killed him, but wait a minute. Naruto gasped as he realized what was going on. If what he said about being the Kyuubi was actually true, then we're in deep. But he was cut off when they heard Naruto's loud roar and the monument being destroyed. In an instant, Naruto was in front of them with his wounds slowly healing. It shocked both of them. What, you thought I was dead? Sorry to disappoint you too, but it'll take a hell of a lot more to kill me, he began saying as he stretched and cracked his neck. I'll admit that attack caught me by surprise. Hell, it almost killed me. I couldn't believe it. I let my guard down for 1 second and I almost die, he told them, shaking his head at the same time. Naruto then gave them a cold, dead stare. You should have finished me off when you had the chance, because now it's your turn to die. He suddenly disappeared and reappeared behind Naruto. Quick as a flash, Naruto shoved his right arm through his chest. NNNNNOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOO what had just happened. The Hollow looked down, only to find a hand and forearm sticking out of his chest. Then it finally clicked, and waves of pain began rolling off him. That just backstabbed me in the motherfucking back, and this was my favorite shirt too. It was the last thing Naruto thought before he fell unconscious. Then Naruto just tossed him aside like a rag doll. Naruto watched as his Hollow's body fell down with a loud thud. Don't look too sad, he's not dead. If you didn't know this already, your inner Hollow can't die unless you die, so cheer up, Naruto said. That still doesn't give you the right to shove your fucking arm through his chest, Naruto said with gritted teeth. He was beyond angry now. I did what was necessary to get him out of the picture. This fight is between you and me. Fine, you want a fight? Then I'll give you a fight, Naruto yelled at him as he charged forward. All hell broke loose. Naruto and Naruto's fists collided with each other, which caused a large shock wave that ended up destroying some of the rubble around them. Naruto then took a swing at Naruto, but Naruto ducked under the punch, and did an uppercut that connected with Naruto's chin, sending him flying back. Before Naruto could recover from the blow, Naruto was there, and he grabbed one of his legs and swung him toward the ground, slamming him as hard as he could. It caused a huge crater upon contact. Naruto did not stop there. He jumped on top of Naruto's chest, and began pounding the hell out him with chakra-enforced punches. Punch after punch, the ground around them cracked more with each blow, and the crater kept getting bigger and deeper. The sound of bones breaking echoed throughout the empty village. When Naruto finally finished beating the hell out of Naruto, he got up slowly. Naruto was breathing heavily as he regarded the demon. His face was caved in and no longer recognizable. There seemed to be no visible signs of movement from Naruto. "That's for my hollow, you bastard," Naruto said as he turned around. As he started to make his way up the huge crater, something grabbed Naruto's foot. Looking down, he noticed it was a tail. His eyes widened. Impossible. "You think this is over?" Naruto asked. His voice sounded normal and not riddled with pain like Naruto expected. Naruto whipped his head around, and saw Naruto's face healing up faster than the hole. When Naruto saw the shocked look on Naruto's face, he decided to explain. "If you want to know, I'll tell you. Every time you hit me with your enhanced punches, I increased my healing rate by using your chakra. That is why you feel like you are out of chakra," he told Naruto. "How could you use my chakra?" Naruto asked him, confused on how he could take his chakra without him even knowing about it. "It's quite simple, really. The only reason you have chakra in the first place is because of the Kyuubi. Since I'm now the new Kyuubi, I just kept taking your chakra. I did it slow enough so you couldn't tell. However, whenever you used a jutsu or anything chakra related, I was able to take even more. With that little stunt you pulled just now, I was able to take all your remaining chakra and use it to heal myself," Naruto said. "But I still have my—" Naruto was cut off by a tail impaling him in his right shoulder. He stifled the gasp of pain that threatened to emerge from his throat. "Don't make me laugh. Your Ryotsu will not be able to touch me as long as I keep you from going anywhere." Just then, 3 more tails impaled Naruto. 1 in his left shoulder, and 2 in each thigh. "Aargh!" Naruto finally screamed out in pain. "See? If you can't move, how can you shunpo or use any Kido spells? I bet you're cursing yourself for leaving your Zanpakuto at the Soul Society. You could have killed me with it, but too bad you don't have it. I think it's time to end this little game, don't you agree?" Naruto asked. There was now a wicked grin on his face. Naruto didn't know this, but since the time right after he was impaled through the chest and thrown away like yesterday's trash, Naruto was not just lying there, waiting to die. No, he was actually resting. Resting just enough so he could take control of Naruto's body. When Naruto started to go to town on Naruto's face, that was when Naruto took control. The clones were all ready and waiting to use the summoning jutsu when the time was right. The only problem was they had never felt the Kyuubi's chakra. What they felt was their chakra leaving. The real Naruto was somehow absorbing it from them. They had no idea that the so-called new Kyuubi was stealing chakra from Naruto, who in turn, was forced to take chakra from them. "What do you think is going on? It's been at least an hour and nothing has happened yet," one of the clones said. "I don't know, but for some strange reason I feel like I'm getting weaker," another one said. "Yeah, me too, same here. Do you think it has something to do with the boss?" the first clone asked. Before anyone could answer, Naruto took over Naruto's body and started to yell out to them. "Alright you fucktards. I don't have much time to talk, so here I go." The clones were surprised at the sudden outburst but calmed down and began to listen. "Blondie and I underestimated that fucking fox, and now we're getting our ass kicked. Right now, Fishcake is pounding the shit out of him, but I do not think that is going to work. I hate to say this, but we fucked up and now it is up to you fuckers to use the summoning jutsu or whatever Hokage calls it. Well, that's all the time I got. Don't screw this up or we're all fucking dead." That was the last thing Naruto said before he lost control of Naruto's body. "What do we do?" one of the clones asked. "We use the jutsu, no question," the first clone said. "Hi." The rest replied. They went through the various hand signals, and as one, slammed their hands on the ground. Summoning no Jutsu. Yami no Mon. Summoning Jutsu. Gate of Darkness. Suddenly the ground started to shake, and inside the barrier behind Naruto's body, the ground started to crack open. A long, tall white door started to rise out of the ground. Okay, the jutsu worked. Now we had to open it. However, before the clones could do anything, the doors began to open by themselves to reveal someone in a black hooded trench coat that walked out and moved towards Naruto's unconscious body. "Who are you?" one of the clones asked the hooded figure. "My name is not important, but I will tell you that I have been waiting for this one for quite some time now." "And what are you going to do with the boss?" another clone asked. "I am taking him to the world of darkness," the hooded person said as he picked up Naruto and walked back through the door, not once looking back. Once the door had shut, it began to descend back into the ground, and eventually disappeared. There was a moment of silence before one of the clones finally spoke. "Well, we did what the boss asked us to do. Now we have to inform the others." They all nodded to each other and 3 of the 5 clones dispelled. As for the other 2, one left to tell Urahara, and the other went to tell Yoruichi. Naruto was about to impale Naruto in the heart, when a voice stopped him. "Go ahead, you fucking fox. It won't matter if you take control now." "And what do you mean by that?" he asked, his clawed hand a scant inch away from Naruto's chest. "Why don't you ask Fishcake there what I mean?" Naruto replied. Naruto looked at Naruto, who was now smiling mischievously. "What the hell are you smiling about? You're going to die," Naruto exclaimed. What he meant was, that even if you do kill me, and take control, you will spend the rest of your life wandering in the world of darkness. Naruto told him, still keeping the smirk on his face. You stupid idiot. Do you know how hard it is to? Nonetheless, I'll find a way back to our dimension, and when I do." Naruto yanked his tails out of Naruto's body and picked him up from the ground by his neck with his right hand. "The first thing on my to-do list is go to that you care so much about and have my way with her. And when I'm done with her, I am going to make her watch as everything she loves and cherishes dies as I kill them one by one. You know what else? There is nothing you can do about it. Here's the kicker. It's all your fault, ha 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 ha." He laughed as he threw Naruto to the side and walked off. "And you know the best part? You will witness the whole thing too. Ha ha, how do you like?" Naruto was unable to finish, because he was suddenly impaled by Naruto's clawed hand. As Naruto looked at Naruto's eyes, he saw them turn from ocean blue to blood red. His eyes now had slits for pupils. "But how?" he asked Naruto. "I just figured it out. You weren't created because I did not want the power of the Kyuubi. You were created to hold the power of the Kyuubi until I accepted. Can you guess what I'm going to do now?" Naruto asked him. No, you can't. I'm the new Kyuubi, not you. Aargh. Naruto screamed in pain as he began to turn into the Kyuubi's chakra and be absorbed by Naruto until he was no more. Naruto then began to feel his fangs growing along with his nails. Next his human ears shrank into nothingness, and were replaced with fox ears on the top of his head. Lastly, tails sprouted out from where his tailbone would be. With all of the sudden changes to his body, it was too much for him to handle, and without warning, Naruto fainted. "Humph. You became what you feared the most to save the ones you loved the most. How ironic," Naruto said, as he faded away to the blackness of sleep. Meanwhile, the clone had reached Naruto's hideout, and told Yoruichi the latest developments. "That's about it, Yoruichi. Also, he told us to tell you he was sorry for not being able to tell you in person. So you had to do what you had to do," Yoruichi said as had her eyes closed. Then she stood up abruptly. "If you think I'm mad, well, you're damn right I'm mad. But don't worry about me or Naruto. He'll be back. This is Naruto we're talking about. He can do almost anything he puts his mind to. When he gets back, I'll pound the hell out of him for leaving me not once, not twice, but 3 times. He has his share of beatings to get when he comes back, and I'll be waiting," she told the clones, who were scared for their boss even more than they were before. Thinking, someone talking. Kido, Zanpakuto move, Sero. Flashback begins. Flashback ends. Naruto equals Hollow Naruto. Is Hollow Naruto talking? Someone important talking. Someone talking in the background. Naruto's inner world. "Hey Hokage, get up!" Naruto yelled out in Naruto's mind. repeating the same words repeatedly for what felt like hours only to get the same results, nothing. Sigh, I give up. If this idiot does not want to get up, then the hell with it, that is fine by me. A light bulb lit up above his head, not a real one, with a smirk tugged at his lips. I'll just have to take control of your body, he said, as his smirk grew wider when he saw Naruto's body shoot up. Over my dyed body, Naruto exclaimed, sending a death glare towards his inner hollow. About damn time you get up. If I knew saying that would get you up, I would have said it sooner. Yeah, now tell me what happened again. What you don't remember? Well, it's kind of foggy. All I can remember is the two of us fight my demon side. Then when he was just about to finish explaining what he going to do once he had control of my body, after that I'm drawing a blank. Could be a side effect of him becoming the Kyuubi, or was it something else? Naruto thought. That sums up most of it, but are you sure you can't remember anything else? Lick. I don't know, shoving your hand in his chest or something, he asked Naruto. What? I think I would remember doing something like that, but... Naruto stopped as he looked at his hand, seeing it covered in blood. Grabbing his head as the memory of what happened replayed in his head, Naruto could tell without asking he was remembering something just by the look on Naruto's face. So, do you remember now? Yeah, I remember. Good, now I don't have to tell your sorry ass. Naruto just rolls his eyes at his hollow. So did the jutsu work? How the hell should I know? I only see what you see, and since your ass is still in here, your body is either lying in the forest or in the damn world of darkness. Alright, I was just asking, clam down, said Naruto as he scratched the back of head. Man, what the heck his problem? All I did was asked. Ah, whatever, let's just see where the hell we're at. Alright. Before Naruto could leave his inner world, his inner hollow had to tell him something important. Oh, before you go, I have something to tell you. I'm not sure if no, but you have a tail. What? Yelled Naruto as he looked back, and indeed his hollow was right, but he did not have just one tail but 9. You said I had a tail, not tails. Oh, did I say tail? I meant tails, my bad, he said as he tried not to laugh at Naruto. There is one more thing. He stopped until he had Naruto attention. Instead of talking, he just taped the top of his head. What, my head? Getting a nod from him, Naruto brought up a hand and slowly touched his head, not inspecting anything but hair, but to his surprise he felt something else, something furry and pointy. Then hit him, it was an ear. Bring his other hand up, he felt his other ear too. I have ears on my head too. Naruto was laughing by now, as the shock look on Naruto's face was priceless. Man, you should have seen the look on your face, it was priceless, he said as he wiping the tears off his face. I thought you should know. I should have known it would happen when I absorbed and accepted the Kyuubi's chakra. She told me I would grow some tails and would have fox ears as well. I must have just forgotten about it till now, he said, getting over the shock of the new ears and tails. Now that's out of the way, shall we see what the world of darkness looks like? Getting a nod from his inner hollow, Naruto leaves his inner world. Opens his eyes, he notices he is leaning up against a wall, using the said wall to get up, checking his surroundings to find that the walls and even the ground looks exactly like the Seireitei. Jumping on top to the wall next to him, wanting to get a better look, only to find out he is in the Seireitei. However, something was wrong. The half the place was in shambles while the other half had, but not many, building and walls still standing. Even the head captain's building been destroyed. What the hell, how did we get in the Soul Society and the Seireitei? Beats me, but the questions is what the hell happened to it? I would like to know that as well, but what could have done this? You think Aizen could have done it? That could be a possibility, but does he have that kind of power to be able to this? What if he got hold of the real Hogyoku? He did tell us he in our battle that he only had a fake one. Before Naruto could answer, they heard what sounded like footsteps in the distance heading towards their location. Judging by their Ryotsu, they were probably some low-class Shinigamis, but one of them did have Ryotsu level of a lieutenant. Turning to the right, Naruto could see 5 people running towards him with his Nei hearing. Thanks to his new ears, he heard them talking. He's this way, I saw him lying on the ground, one of the Shinigamis told the group. Nori, if he was lying on the ground, why didn't you just kill him instead of getting back up? Another one asked. Well, I thought he might wake up if I tried, so I went to get you guys. The now known Nori said, a little embarrassed. More like you got scared and ran away. Another one said, making the others laugh, but one while Nori told them to shut up. Who cares why he ran away? I'm glad he did. Now I can kill him, for he did to Captain Aizen, a female Shinigami exclaimed. So Aizen didn't do this then who? Naruto thought as he continued to listen to them. Yeah, the lieutenant is right, he killed the captain. A tall male Shinigami yelled out with the others agreeing with him. Aizen's dead. Naruto whispered to himself. Still wondering what the hell going, and since they were the closest one here he would just follow them, casting a low genjutsu around himself, making him invisible to others. Did he notice that I took more chakra to cast his jutsu, but before he could ponder, the group arrived to his location, stopping just below him? He was right here leaning against that wall, Nori said. Damn it, he's gone now, what are going to do? Another Shinigami yelled out. You should have killed him when you the chance, Nori. This whole damn thing could be over. Another Shinigami told Nori. I'm sorry, you're right, I should have, damn it. It's my fault, exclaimed Nori as he fell to his knees and punched the ground with his fist. No, it's not, he probably made a clone and put it there knowing if someone seen it they would go and get help. Once they returned he would blow it up. I've seen it happen before. You think so, Lieutenant? Other female Shinigami asked. Hi, he's nothing but a coward. That only hides in the shadows, he's nothing but a coward, you hear me? The lieutenant yelled. Is she talking about me? Don't know, but I don't fucking like it, we should go and shut head damn mouth. Lieutenant, I think that's not a good idea, the tall male told her. Shut up, Katsuro. The lieutenant bit back, making the now tail male known as Katsuro wince back a bit as she looked around. I know he's here just watching us, waiting for us to make our move. Slowly putting her hand on her hilt of her blade, she take one more good look around, making sure she didn't miss anything. None of it went unnoticed by Naruto. He watched everyone with caution eyes. Watching them, he figured that the other four were either regular Shinigamis or low-seated officers. However, the lieutenant was a different story. She, what Naruto could notice, had a lot of hidden potential. Just by watching her he could tell she could sense him by the way she was looking around, as she could feel his very presence. He kept most of his attention on her, little to none to the others, as she took one last look around, slowly but surely looking at the area. Looking at the top of the walls around them, she senses something on top of the one to the right of them. She could not really tell since she did not see anything, but she had a gut feeling that whatever is watching them was there. Naruto on the other hand was a little surprised, as the so-called lieutenant was looking right at him, but he figured she still could not see him thanks to his genjutsu. She is good, I do not know how, but she can sense me. If I stay here too long she actually might find me. With that said, Naruto decided to get out of there, but once he moved the so-called lieutenant saw something wavy, something like what Chad and Karen in the anime. Making an outline as if there was someone there, but that was all the lieutenant need to make her move. There, she yelled as she jumped as fast as she could, making the blonde stop in his tracks and sees her jump right towards him. How'd she see me? He thought, dumbfounded that she was able to find or even see him at that. Just at the last moment Naruto jumps to the side as the girl's blade nicked his left cheek, forcing the genjutsu to drop and revealing himself. Landing on the ground, jumps back as his attacker dashes towards him again, swinging her Zanpakuto at him, but this time he was ready and dodged it with ease. The other part of the group were stunned seeing their lieutenant jump at nothing. Then a blonde man appears out of thin air. See, I told you he was here, Nori told his comrades, who were too shocked to answer back. Well, what are we waiting for? Let's help out the lieutenant. The others shook their heads and nodded, but before they could even engage and help their lieutenant, her voice stopped them. No, he's mine. I'm going to kill him and avenge Captain Aizen, the lieutenant told them as Naruto jumped back, gaining some ground from her. But Lieutenant, it'd be easier to fight him together, Nori said, but to no avail, as their lieutenant, who was not paying no mind to him or the rest of the group, got into a fighting stance, but just before she could attack, someone appeared in between her and the one thing she loathed. Glancing upon the newcomer, Naruto could tell this person was strong as he was wearing a captain's haori, but what was more interesting, the person looked like a kid and was shorter than everyone here was. When he saw his hair white and spiked with one strand of hair in the front, he immediately thought of Takeo, as they both had the same color and style. Could they have been brothers? See Captain Hitsugaya, the Shinigamis in the back said. T. Toshiro, the lieutenant said in complete shock as to see him. The captain turns his head towards the lieutenant and her group. Momo, I want you and the others to get out of here and leave the rest to me, the captain said icily. But Toshiro, no buts, Momo, just get out of here and go find Yoruichi. Tell here I found him, he interruptedly told her. The now identified Momo was debating whether to listen to her childhood friend or stay and help. She knew that she was not that strong and had no chance in hell in taking down Uzumaki, but damn it, she was going to try or die trying. With her mind made up, she gets back into her fight stance ready to back up her friend. "No, Toshiro," she whispered. "Not this time. No more running. Everyone tells me to run away, but not this time. I'm staying." "Damn it, Momo, now is not the time to be stubborn. Just listen to what I said and get out of here," Toshiro yelled at her, but to no avail. "No, you're going to need my help," Momo tried to plead with him. Naruto still not sure what the heck is going on, but he knew what this Toshiro person was trying to do. "You should listen to what your friend is trying to tell you," Naruto said, putting his 2 cents in. Toshiro turning to face him. "You stay out of this, it doesn't concern you," he told him with one of his cold glares, and turns back to Momo. "But he's right. Toshiro, listen Momo, I need you to leave and find Yoruichi like said. I will hold him off as long as I can and buy you some time. Just find her as fast as you can," Hitsugaya asked her as a smoothing tone. Sigh, "Alright, but promise me you will come back." "I promise." With a nod, Momo and the others left as via Shunpo in search of the purple hair goddess. With her gone and out of the way, Toshiro turns and faces Naruto as he grips the hilt of his Zanpakuto. "Now it's just you and me," Hitsugaya tells him. "Before we fight, let me ask you something." Getting nothing but an icy glare, taking that as a signal to go ahead, he asks him. "What the heck happened and why the hell did she attack me? Don't you know who I am?" "We know who you are. You're the traitor Naruto Uzumaki, the one who killed Captain Kanami Tosen, Captain Jin Ichimaru, and Captain Sosuke Aizen. You're also the one who did this to the Seireitei." "What? I killed Aizen, but I never returned to the Soul Society or the Seireitei. I never even met this kid." "Answer another one more. Who the hell are you?" "I'm glad you asked. My name is Toshiro Hitsugaya, captain of Squad 10, and I'm the one who is going to kill you." He then dashes toward Naruto, who in turns does the same. Hitsugaya pulling his Zanpakuto out, slashing at the blonde demon, only for the said demon to easily dodge it by shifting his body to the side and bring his fist along with him, launching it into the boy's midsection. The impact of the punch was strong enough to knock the air out of him while sending him back a couple of meters as he landed on his back, sliding about 3 more meters. Letting the small captain get back to his feet, catching his breath, he stood up, disappeared via Shunpo, reappeared behind Naruto, and swung ready to slice him in half. However, Naruto was not ready to die now, so he jumped backwards over the sword and Hitsugaya with his sword just cutting some fur from one of Naruto's tails land behind him. Toshiro saw this and was shocked to see that Uzumaki was that fast and literally jumped not just his sword but him as well, only cutting a little bit of the fur. Ducking under a kick, he turned around and lunging his sword into Naruto's gut, seeing it go in, thinking he got him, only for it to poof into smoke. Getting back up looking for Naruto, only to see something come through the smoke and blocked it with his sword. That is when Naruto jumped through the smoke as well with a kunai in his right hand. Toshiro was shocked to see him but quickly shook it off and blocked Naruto's attack, sliding back a few feet. "Look, I don't want to fight, just let me go in." Let you go? Did you let Rangaku go when she begged you to let her go?" Hitsugaya exclaimed, his face getting red with rage, his hands griping his hilt till they bled. "No, you just laughed at her and gave her a deep enough where she would just bleed to death." All the anger Toshiro had let him push Naruto back pretty far, about 10 feet to be exact. Before Naruto could even get his feet on the ground, Hitsugaya was on him like a fat man on a cupcake, swinging his Zanpakuto, not letting his blonde enemy a chance to strike. "I finally arrived to her location with Captain Unohana to check on her, but by the time we arrived she had lost too much blood and there was nothing she could have done," Toshiro said in between swings. "She told me what you done and now you're asking me the same thing. Well, you can just fucking forget it." Hitsugaya then pushed Naruto again, throwing him off balance. Using his chance, he shunned Pioed and punched Naruto midsection hard enough to knock the wind out of him, sending him back just like he did to him. Griping his Zanpakuto, raising eye above his head. "Soden ni Zace, Hiranmara. Sit upon the frozen havens, Ice Ring." Hitsugaya brings down his sword, sending a Chinese-looking dragon made of ice soaring towards Naruto, who just got up in time to see the said ice dragon come right for him. Quickly making some cage bunchins and have one of them make a Rasengan and attack the ice dragon while he and the others go after the caster. The clone with the Rasengan ran head-on and trusted his right arm with the Rasengan in hand at the head of the dragon, watching it shred the ice into dust while it kept running with the other clones and Naruto following suit. Toshiro was not pleased seeing his attack being beat so easily. Breaking of the connection with his attack, he ran forward swinging his sword, making another ice dragon. However, this one curved and attacked at an angle as he ran right behind his first one, ready to attack the first clone. Naruto, who saw the next dragon coming, tells one of his other clones, who in turn form another Rasengan and repeat what the first clone did. Just as the first ice dragon was about to die off, Toshiro breaks the connection with his dragon again. Grabbing the ball and chain on the end of his Zanpakuto, he throws it just as his first dragon destroyed, hitting the clone in the gut, making it lose concentration on it Rasengan. As he made contact, he shunpos next to the clone, stabbing it, making it poof, and repeats the same thing to destroy the other clones. The real Naruto jumps back, waiting for Hitsugaya to finish the last clone off and turn to face him. If that is all your Shikai can do, then this battle is over. Just let me leave and no one gets hurt. Naruto told him, but it all fell to deaf ears as Toshiro answers by sending yet another ice dragon. Sigh, I told him, but I guess I have no choice, he thought to himself as he flashed those some hand signs, ending it in a tiger sign and taking a deep breath. Kaden. Gokakyu no Jutsu. Fire release. Grand fireball technique. Releasing the intake of air, Naruto shot out giant fireball twice the size it should have been at Hitsugaya's attack, melting it on contact. As for Toshiro, once he saw how big the fireball was, seeing how fast it traveling, he had only one option. Once again, he broke the connection with his attack and said one word. Bankai. As the His Jutsu was hurling towards Hitsugaya, he felt the sudden spike in his Ryotsu, and so did everybody else that close enough. Naruto, cursing himself for not finishing this fight faster, now has to go all out or just enough to bet this kid and get away before anybody else gets here. Alright kid, you asked for it. As the fireball jutsu was just a couple feet away, Hitsugaya's Bankai made a thick wall of ice in front of himself as his new ice wings that look like it's from a dragon did the same, and covered him, making a 2-layer thick shield. If this were any regular ice, the jutsu would have melted it with no problem, but that's not the case. This ice is special. It's still regular ice but has Ryotsu, Hitsugaya's Ryotsu, and since Ryotsu is almost the same as chakra, but the more you add the stronger it becomes. That is exactly what Toshiro is doing, adding more Ryotsu into his ice wall, so when the fireball made contact it melted the first layer. In the process, the ice wall did its job by weakening his attack by 2/3 while his wings stopped the rest. It was a risky move, but in the end it worked. It only cost of a lot of Ryotsu that he will need in this battle. Moving what's left of his wings as he ascended into the sky while his wings regenerate, he looks at Naruto with that same icy glare he gives to every enemy he faces. Naruto, on the other hand, looks at his opponent's new look, seeing the new addition of wings made of ice that connects with his new tail. Guards over his feet in the shape of dragon claws. A gauntlet of sorts, in the shape vaguely reminiscent of Hiranmara dragon sprit form, over his right hand, essentially binding his hand to Hiranmara's hilt, and 12 large flower petals. Nice look, wish my Bankai was something like that, but having something like that most come with a big use a lot of Ryotsu, he thought as a smile tugged at his lips. All I have to do is make sure he wastes his Ryotsu by either destroying his wings or making him use it. Damn, using making that wall plus making it stronger took more Ryotsu than I thought. I'm going to have to finish this fast. The longer it takes, the less chance I have at whining, and judging by that damn smile, he figured out something. Toshiro thought as he began to think of a plan. Making an ice clone could help, but I'm not sure it could take one of his fire attacks, but it could distract him long enough for me to use that move. It's a long shot, but if I can slow or stop him long enough for Yoruichi to arrive, then we can end this whole mess. Alright, here I go. Toshiro made up his mind and starts making his ice clone. Naruto, not wanting to stay here any longer and probably will regret doing this, as he starts to form his Ransen Shuriken. Once it formed, he starts to run towards Hitsugaya but stops when he sees ice forming in front, Toshiro making a complete ice copy of him. It flew straight toward the blonde demon, closing the gap between them, and Naruto had two choices: either shunpo in front of Toshiro and kill him or attack the ice clone of his. Naruto being Naruto who never kills unless he has to jump towards the ice clone, slamming his Rasen shuriken into it, shredding it on contact, turning it into nothing but shards and ice dust. With the ice clone gone, Naruto stood in the air as he noticed the clouds gathering, making it look like it was going to storm, but he heard Hitsugaya's voice of his next attack, and last. Hyoden Hyakaso. Frozen sky, countless ornate entombment. Suddenly a huge hole appears in the clouds, letting a large amount of snow to start falling. Never like to use my Bankai, Toshiro told Naruto for no apparent reason. Naruto, who is still looking at the snow as it is falling, answers back, and why that is, can't control it. Exactly. Toshiro said, dumbfounded that he guessed it right. Since I can't control it, I could kill my comrades on accident, especially with this move. The snow you see now will eventually touch you, and when it does, flowers of ice will sprout over your body, trapping you in a pillar of ice. Well then, Naruto started to say as he turned head to face Hitsugaya with crimson red eyes. I guess I'll have to take you with me, he yelled with a more bloodthirsty tone as he puts his hands in front of himself as a purplish orb the size of a basketball forms in between them. I've seen you use that move like that already. You can't reach me even if you Shunpo, the snow will touch you, and Hitsugaya began to say before he was interrupted, missing the change in Naruto's eyes but not his voice. Who said anything about Shunpo-ing? Odama Rasen, Naruto said as he moves his hands away from the oversized Rasengan, letting it fall while he got into a soccer player stance. Shot. Applying chakra into his right foot, he kicks the Rasengan while it falls, sending it towards a shocked-looking Hitsugaya. Toshiro, acting as quickly as he could, use his wings to shield himself from the attack in hope that his wing would be enough, but soon found out that it didn't do much. Once it hit his wings, the giant ball torn them apart and was still on course towards him. Nothing else but his Zanpakuto. Toshiro brought it up in a line of his last defense. It hit, destroying the ice surrounding the blade, but stopped once the blade made contact. Pushing him back a bit, he took a quick glance at Naruto, notices him trying to stop the ice flowers from sprouting. A smirk formed on Toshiro's face, knowing his last attack got him. Returning all of his focus back to the ball of death in front of him, trying to redirect the attack, but the sound of his sword cracking stops him. Damn it, if this goes on, my Zanpakuto will break under the pressure, Hitsugaya thought, but before he could do anything else, the sound of someone calling his name got his attention. Toshiro. That sounded like Momo. Sensing her Ryotsu close by along with some others, he mentally sighed, but then realized he was still in his Bankai and wasn't sure if his last attack ended or not. Momo, get out of here, it's not saw. He never finished as his blade broke and the death ball came towards him. Toshiro saw his life flash before his eyes as Naruto's last attack came at him in slow motion. Closing his eyes, waiting for his end to come, but nothing did, opening his eyes and couldn't believe his eyes. There in front of him was a woman with purple hair tied up in a ponytail with an orange ribbon, dark chocolate skin, in the same outfit as Yoruichi. She stopped the Naruto's Rasengan with her hands, hissing in pain as it was burning her hands. At first, he thought it was Yoruichi, but a closer inspection, the young woman in front of himself had blue eyes and 6 whiskers-like marks on her face, 3 on each cheek, and he heard the real Yoruichi call the girl's name. Asa, get rid of it now, Yoruichi yelled to her. Doing as she is told while enduring the pain she already felt, she turned and threw the giant ball as far as she could away from the area. It was a good throw itself, sending it went at least 20 to 30 meters before it landed and made a big explosion that caused a shock wave that knocked that back a bit. Yoruichi, the first to recover, went to her look-alike to check on her, grabbing her hands, checking the burn marks. Are you okay? She asked. You could hear a little panic tone in her voice. Yes, Okazen, I'm fine, Asa said as she winced a bit when her mother touched her hand and snapping it away. See, you're not fine, you should have known better than to grab or touch a jutsu out of demonic chakra, Yoruichi scolded her. Okazen, I didn't have any other choice, I had to grab it or he would have most likely died. Plus I have the same healing ability as Oto-san, she said, looking at the ground when she mentions the word father. Don't you dare call him your Oto-san, he will neigh, Yoruichi began, but Asa interrupted her. No matter what you say, he will always be my Oto-san. Yoruichi's face softens and gives her daughter small nod. Alright, now check on Toshiro while I check on your Oto-san, she said, saying the last word with little venom as possible not to get her daughter made. Asa gives her mother a nod and heads towards the now passed out Hitsugaya, who must have fallen once his Bankai wore off after Asa saved his life. As for Yoruichi, she went to examine the giant pillar of ice that imprisoned the one who caused of their whole ordeal. Upon inspection, she knew damn well this attack couldn't kill him. Since Hitsugaya Bankai wore off, the ice prison slowly started to disappear till his body was exposed. She threw one of her hidden knives at him, not surprising it poofed into smoke. Should have known, using that last attack as a distraction so he could make an escape, most likely underground, and left a clone to look like he was either killed or trapped just to trick us. It would have worked on someone else but not me. I known you for too long, Naruto. So the hunt is still on, she thought as she returned to rejoin the others. Momo. She calls to her, getting her attention. Take Hitsugaya to Unohana. Hi, but what about that Teme, is he dead? Momo asked, more like demanding to know. There was an awkward silence and all she said was one word. No. Momo was shocked, dumbfounded, whatever you could think of, and to have someone tell you he's not dead after seeing him in a giant ice prison, that was not possible. But Toshiro froze. A fake, in other words a clone, that he made to look like he got him while he escaped. Momo didn't know what to say after that, but before she could ponder on, Yoruichi snapped her out of her thoughts. Momo, I know how you feel. I wanted him dead right now too, but we aren't dealing with just some random guy. We are dealing with someone who can fight the head captain as if it was child's play. The training the others and I went through, we should be able to beat him, said Yoruichi. At the same time she walked toward Momo, placing a hand on her should her, giving a light squeeze. All you can do right now is take care of Hitsugaya and leave the rest up to us. Momo looked at her, then at Asa as she gave her a nod, confirming what her mother said was right, then back at Yoruichi. Alright, I'll do it. I'll take him to Captain Unohana, but you better make sure you kick his ass even harder for me, said Momo, getting a light chuckle from Yoruichi as the said woman got up and gave her daughter a nod. Before they leave in search of Naruto, Soifan appeared behind Momo. Lady Yoruichi, I found Naruto, he's at Sokyoko Hill, she informed them. Damn, he quick. Yoruichi thought, looking from Momo to Soi. Alright, let's go, we have not time to waste, let's end this now. With that said, Soi, Asa, and Yoruichi disappeared via Shunpo as Momo did the same after she picked up Toshiro. Far off from where the battle took place, a man in a black hood trench coat spoke as if he was talking to himself as he watched Yoruichi and the rest talk among themselves. Yes, that was a close one. Who would have thought he would end up fight Hitsugaya? What are his chances? Fight the rest? Slim to none in the state he's in. I never planned on him fight anybody, but you can't predict the future. Ha ha ha. Yes, this is his future, but even if you know the future you can always change it. You know, I think you're right, I should intervene before they actually do kill him, but one more confrontation couldn't hurt. It's not every day you get to meet or see what your future daughter looks like, he said as he watched the group vanish. True, it will probably change his future, but that's the whole point in bringing him here, to change his future along with everyone else's. This part of the future won't matter once he is back to his time. Then the changes will begin, and hope he doesn't repeat what he did to Aizen. Of course I will tell him. If he doesn't know what he will do, then how will he not repeat it? Sometimes I wonder how I lived with you this long and not go insane. And don't answer that. I think that's enough talking. I think it's time for me to intervene before they kill him, the mysterious man said as he vanished towards his next destination. Sokyoko Hill. Looking at the destruction in a different angle, Naruto begins to wonder how could he or anybody do this much damage. Then what that girl Momo along with the kid Toshiro said played back in his head. He probably made a clone and put it there, knowing if someone seen it they would go and get help. Once they returned he would blow it up. I've seen it happen before. We know who you are. You're the traitor Naruto Uzumaki, the one who killed Captain Konami Tosen, Captain Jin Ichimaru, and Captain Sosuke Aizen. You're also the one who did this to the Seireitei. What if they are right? What if I did do this? But if I did, why don't I remember? Maybe you didn't do it but your body did. What are you talking about? You trying to say I was sleepwalking, destroyed the Seireitei, and a cold-blooded killer? I don't know. All I'm trying to say is, what if your body moved on its own, you know, an automatic defense or something? You're the new Kyuubi. What if your body sense you're in danger, acting on its own, protecting itself? Who knows how long you were passed out? That could be, but still that a big if, just a theory. If I want to get some answers I'm going to have to ask Yoruichi or Ura, Just then the Naruto sensed two familiar Ryotsu, but the third one, it had a mixture of Ryotsu and chakra, and not just any regular chakra, it was demonic chakra close by. Now he was confused, how could there be anybody else with demonic chakra? For 3,000 years he spent in the Soul Society, there was no signs of anybody have the ability to use chakra. He concluded he was able to use chakra was because of having the Kyuubi sealed in his soul, but now he's sensing someone else with it. Could it be Anther Jinchuriki? He though, as they appeared behind him about 10 yards away. Turning around, he was not surprised to see Soi Fan and Yoruichi, but what really got his attention was the young girl, probably in her late teens, who looked exactly like Yoruichi. She could even be called her younger sister. However, Naruto noticed two things that told him who this young girl probably was and why he sensed demonic chakra coming from her. The said girl had ocean blue eyes just like his and 6 small whiskered marks on her cheeks, 3 on each side. Well, speak of the devil, she came in with your little student and who the hell's that? She has your eyes and same damn whisker marks. You know I could be wrong and say she's you, kid. What, you knocked her up before you left? Oto-san, please just stop this meaningless fight, we Asa plead, but Yoruichi stopped her by putting her arm in front of her. Well, that answers that question. There is no point, we tried before and look what he did to the Seireiti. Yeah, but Asa began, but was yet again interrupted by her mother. Asa, I told you already, there is no point. He made up his choice. He chose to become a god over everything else, and where her to stop him? Yoruichi said as Naruto was too dumbfounded to ask what she mean. Now I want you to stay out of the fight till your hands are completely healed while your aunt and I fight your Oto-san, you got it? Hi. Wait, what the heck, yo? Naruto finally asked, but it was too late as Soi and Yoruichi rushed him. They were both on him before he knew it, as Yoruichi threw a punch at his chest, but he easily blocked it. Soi Fan on the other hand was right behind him with her Shikai Suzumaki, already released before she even got there, and thrust it towards his back. Sensing that she was behind him and must have forgotten his tails, using them to stop her attack and restraining her. Kicking Yoruichi in her midsection, forcing her back off, then using his tails he moves Soi Fan in front of him, holding her hostage with 3 tails holding her in place and another positioned behind her back. Otosan, don't! Asa yelled, as Yoruichi cursing Soi Fan under her breath for forgetting about his tails. Now everybody just calm down, I don't even know why the hell everyone is attacking me for, he asked. What the hell are you talking about? Don't even try to play that innocent act, we're not going to fall for it, not again. Soi Fan struggled since his tails were gripping her tightly. Not that it matters now. What, Ichigo now? Soi said as her body poofed into smoke. She was a clone, but Getsuga Tensho, Moon Fang Heave Piercer. An orange-haired boy yelled out behind Naruto. Turning around he saw what looked like a big crest moon-like wave soaring towards him. Naruto too shocked to move out of the way. Snap, he heard the sound of someone snapping his or her fingers and everything around him starts to slow down to a complete stop. Looking around, seeing everyone frozen in place, it went for the strange attack that the orange-haired boy just did. What the heck is going on? That's easy, I just stopped time, answered a voice that came from behind him. Spinning around he looks at a man in a hood black trench coat the same height as him, the hood blocked, in sight of seeing his face. Who are you? My name is not important, but what is you come with if you want to live, that is. The hood man said, raising his arm behind him. An outline of what Naruto could tell was a tall door. Once the outline was finished, it started to shine, forcing Naruto to shield his eyes. As it died down he saw it was one of the wired-looking doors he ever saw. Same door from last chapter. When the hood man tuned around, the doors started to open as he began towards them. Follow me, and before you ask why, let me inform you, once these doors close you will be trapped here and most likely die. The man said, walking into the darkness inside the door. Naruto did not know what to do. Follow someone he did not even know, or stay in a place where the people he knows want to kill him for a reason he does not even know. Just go into the damn door, it's better than staying here and getting your ass kicked. If it were not for that hood person, either we would have been killed or hurt pretty damn bad by whatever that damn ginger attacked us with. Therefore, my vote is going before the goddamn door closes. Oh shit, it's closing, goddamn it, hurry. I don't know about you, but I don't like getting my ass kicked, so move it, Naruto exclaimed. Alright, I'm going, told him as he ran towards the doors before they closed on him, making it just in time. Upon entering the door, Naruto felt something similar as he went through it. Felt as he was walking through a Senkaimon. Looking around, all he could see was darkness. Darkness? Is this the realm of darkness? Naruto asked as his voice echoed in the darkness as he kept following the strange hood man. No, I'm afraid the realm of darkness you speak of doesn't exist, the man answered back. But my jutsu, it never worked and will never work. How do you know it never worked? Because I've been here for well over. I can't recall how long I've been here, but I know it's been a long time, and yet never been able to find the realm of darkness. If this place isn't the realm of darkness, then what is it? The end of time. The end of time? You're telling me this place is the end of time, but there is nothing here. Precisely, the world began as nothing, so in the end it ends with nothing, but that too isn't important. What is what you just went through. So you know what the hell happened back there. Yes, what you just seen, heard and witnessed was the future, your future to be exact. My future? How is that even possible? How did I get there in the first place? You haven't figured it out yet. I was the one who sent you there. 100 years into the future, that is what you saw, all that because you made one mistake. And what mistake was that? The hooded man stops, turns and faces Naruto. Killing Aizen. What? The moment you killed Aizen, taking the Hogyoku from its host in order to destroy it. It took over your mind, feeding off your darkness from your demonic chakra. The willpower you possess is among the strongest, but it wasn't strong enough to overcome it will, and eventually it consumed you. So how did I supposedly kill Aizen? By stabbing him in the chest with his own sword and left him hanging till he bleeds to death. Sound familiar? Bastard deserves it for trapping me and you. So the whole point of this was to show me a bit of the future so I would change it. That sound about right? Naruto said, ignoring his Hollow's comment. More or less, but even if you do know what the future is like doesn't mean it will change right away. No, thanks for pointing out the obvious, idiot. If I don't kill Aizen when I return, this future will never happen. No, what do you mean? No, you said that all happened when I killed Aizen, so if I don't kill him this will never happen. True, not killing Aizen might slightly change the future, but in the end results will be the same. Then what's the point in showing me my damn future if what I do won't change a damn thing? Naruto now getting pissed at this man for wanting him to change his future, but no matter what he does will not have an effect at all. Calm down, now let me ask you about destiny. Don't get me started on that crap. Ha ha ha. I know how much you loathe it, but like your old friend Neji said, we all chained to destiny. Destiny is a bunch of bullshit. You have control of your own fate. That's the thing, you are the one who has control over their fate along with those around you. What do you mean? Let's go back to when you fought Neji. At the time you were not even strong enough to win that match. Fate had Neji as the victor, but what happens? I beat his ass with one me uppercut, he said with a smirk. Yes, but you were never supposed to. So I was supposed to lose then. That proves that you can change fate. You're not ruled by destiny. Yes, you can change fate, or I should say you are one of the ones who can change their destiny. You remember what I said about your willpower? Yeah, you said it was among one of the strongest. Yes, your willpower is what helps you change your fate. In the fight with Neji you wanted to beat him, not just what he did but what he said, that fate brought you there to lose. Since your willpower was so strong it changed the outcome of the battle with you whining. So my willpower is the key to changing my future, are you sure? It may be small change to you but you changed his, but yes, it's the key to changing the future you witnessed. Is he right? Can I change the way fate works using my willpower? It rather makes sense. When I beat Neji he changed. He was not the same person who boasted about fate and destiny anymore. Alright, let's say you're right and I can change fate, then how do I use me willpower to do it? Don't know, that's the mystery about you. You use it without even knowing it. Then that going to make things harder then, isn't it? Perhaps, but be warned, since you are now a full demon and don't have full control over your powers, stronger hollows and even demons from hell will come after you as well as some humans. Yeah, thanks for the warning. So how do I get back to my time? I'm glad you asked. He said. Even though you couldn't see his face you could tell he had a wicked smirk on his face as he ran towards Naruto, shoving his into his gut where the Shiki Fujin was. Ah! Naruto screamed as he looked down at the man's arm that was now in his gut. What or why you doing? He asked him, gritting his teeth from the extreme pain from having yet again another arm shoved inside him. Sending you back. That when he saw something like Shikamaru's Kagame no Jutsu, shadow imitation technique, expand from the man's arm over his body, slowly consuming him. This might hurt a bit. Hurt a bit, I am Allah. He began to say, but the hoodman shoved his arm farther into his gut till elbow was the only thing he say, forcing him to scream even louder as the darkness consuming him began to speed you. Whatever was consuming Naruto finally covered his lower half and up to his neck, making him look as if he was just a floating head. As it was inching to cover his head, Naruto gave this mysterious person one last look as the said person look up at him, making Naruto's eyes widen just as the darkness consumes him. Taking his arm out of Naruto, watching his body disappear as if nothing was ever there. So it begins. Well, I didn't have to send back like that, but it was the only way to give to him. No pain no gain, ha ha ha. Karakura Town, Park Forest area. Naruto shoots up from lying on the ground and touches his gut, breathing heavily. Holy shit, that hurt. You're telling me my ears are still ringing from your damn screaming. Looking around, he notices he is in a forest, not just any forest but the forest in Karakura Park, the same place he tried his jutsu, which he found out didn't work. I guess he did send us back, but did he really have to shove his arm in me? Hurts, don't it now? Quitting and get moving. Yeah, but there's one thing I'm looking forward to. What, Yoruichi kicking your ass for living I don't know how many times, plus you knocked her out like twice, so no, I don't know what you looking forward to. At that moment Naruto's face paled, making a sentient pale face look normal. Don't remind me, but I was talking about my future daughter. Oh yeah, I do not know about you, but she was hot. Once I find a way to get out of you mind, we are definitely hooking up. What the hell are you talking about? She would be your daughter too, I think, but if she wasn't I would never let you touch her, even if there is a way you can get out. We'll see. Whatever, let's just go see the others. Lead the way, Hokage, lead the way. He then shunned Pioed towards the warehouse. Karakura Town. Warehouse. So Urahara, what are we going to do about Naruto little situation? Shinji asked. What are asking me for? Urahara answered back. Because you're the one with all the answers, that's why. Shinji deadpanned. Who cares? Captain Dumbass can't do or fix what fish cakes, no one could but him. Hiyori said, putting her 2 cents in, but elbowed in the ribs by Shinji. Ow, what the hell was that for? That is when Shinji pointed over to Yoruichi. Oh yeah, sorry. She finished saying as she averted her eyes towards the floor. There was an awkward silence. She's right, said a familiar voice, making everybody the open window. Naruto. Everyone yelled, but Yoruichi. How did you get back and so fast? You clone said you were supposed to be trapped there, you were only gone a few hours. Asked Urahara as none of them noticed his appearance. Well, that's a long story I really don't want to repeat right now. He replied as he jumped down to join the group, but stops as Yoruichi walks up to him while everyone watches her. Yoruichi, can we talk? Pow, she hits him in the face, sending him into the wall behind him, making the rest had sweat drops. Ow, what was that for Yoruichi? He asked her, forgetting the little conversation he and his hollow had as she stormed towards him. That is for knocking me out a few hours ago, she said with her fist dead back. Pow, she hits him again. That's for knocking me out in the Soul Society, which reminds me. Pow, that's for giving me a letter telling me you leaving. She fumed, making the other's sweat drops fall even lower. And now you know why I don't like to get Yoruichi made at me anymore, Urahara said. Pow, and that's for telling Soy Fan my little nickname. Man, I feel sorry for him, Shinji said as all the males in the room nodded their heads. And you know what makes it worse? Urahara asked the group. No, enlighten us. Shinji answer for the group. Pow. That's for not telling what you were going to do, like open some stupid door to darkness. His fast healing abilities, said Urahara. Ouch, Kensai replied. See Shinji, see what happens when you get a woman mad, let this be a lesson for you, Hiyori told him. Pow, that's for not telling me about your stupid gravity crap in your training ground, I could have died. All I have to worry about is all you nagging, Shinji told her. Why you? She tries to punch him but stops her by putting a hand on her head while she keeps trying, swinging madly at him. Let this be a lesson to us all, never get Yoruichi mad. Urahara advised, getting nods from everyone. In the never-ending white sandy desert, with the never-moving reversed crescent moon of Hueco Mundo, one lonely hollow wandering the endless desert, pondering on what just occurred. Just to note, this was not just any ordinary hollow, no, this particular hollow was none other than Takeo Shiroryu no Shumetsu. He was a legend in Hueco Mundo, the first hollow to reach Vasto Lord rank in just 10 years. Some say he went to the world of the living, killed several thousand humans devouring their souls. Others say that he was born with that power, but in reality he just killed every living, or undead, thing he encountered, using weaker hollows as cannon fodder. When they died he just ate them along with his target. Before he was named Shiro Ryu no Shumetsu, they once called him Takeo no Hataresu, heartless. It's true, hollows have no hearts, therefore eat other souls to fill the void, but Takeo was one of the few that never lost control over to the hunger. Having complete control over his body, wandering the White Desert, hearing different stories of why hollows fight just to eat each other. Finding it pretty senseless fighting just to have something to eat. Okay, it wasn't that senseless, he did need to eat, but was that all he was going to do for the rest of his afterlife, eat or be eaten? It all changed once he killed and devoured his first hollow, not causes he was hungry, just because he wanted to, plus it attacked him first. Like I said, it changed him, killing his first hollow. How good it felt ripping the hollow to shreds, seeing he was far superior he was. Once he ate his dead attacker's body was the moment that changed him, the feeling he got formed devouring its body, mask and all. The strength, he felt his power get stronger. At first he thought it was just him or the adrenaline pumping through his body. Once it wore off he still felt the same feeling, coming to a conclusion eating hollows or any souls increases his own power. Before he ventured farther into the endless sandy desert, he took a trip to the world of the living and met a Shinigami that had powers of a hollow who defeated him, telling him how to get powers like his. Since then he searched for other hollows to kill in order to gain power, joining small groups to attack stronger hollows, but instead he killed not just their target but his group as well. Joining stronger groups doing the same thing, killing their targets, then killing his group, gaining enormous amount of power until he eventually became a Vasto Lord. Now wandering the desert unsatisfied by the turn of events, he was hoping to gain powers the Uzumaki told he would receive once becoming a Vasto Lord. Yet he would seem fate decided not bestow him his new powers. In his rage, finding a new group, promising them they get to devour and strong Shinigami soul, but truly he gathered them as cannon fodder in order to injure, weaken, and see how Uzumaki fights. In the end he ended up killing the Shinigami, or so he though, in order to find his own way to achieve the powers he fought and killed for. As if someone was reading his mind, a man appeared before him with anther, silver-headed man as well. If it's power you seek out, I can bestow it to you, the man kindly suggested, but he could tell that this man wanted something in return. What's the catch? Was Takeo's reply as he eyed the man, noticing he was a Shinigami by his cloths. He wore a standard Shinigami uniform with a white haori with the kanji for 5 on the back. His face looked like a scholar's with glasses, with brown hair and a so ever calming smile. The man standing behind him had silver hair and too wore the standard Shinigami attire with some kind of badge on one of his arms that had the kanji for lieutenant. His face was different from his companion, his eyes closed to slits and with his smile making him look like a fox or snake. Catch? There is no catch. All I ask for, you are to swear your allegiance to me, the brown-haired man answered. Not interested, Takeo said dryly. Oh, seem like this one doesn't trust you, Aizen-sama. The silver fox, snake person spoke, making Takeo narrow his eyes. Trust? I don't trust anyone. Trust just can either hold you back or stab you in the back by the very thing or person you trusted. So yeah, I don't trust you or him, he said, nudging his head in the direction to the now announced Bernard. Aizen slightly frowns once he heard him say he did not trust him, even though he really did not care if he trusted him or not. All he was is another soon-to-be pawn in the upcoming war. He didn't need to keep his appearance as if he did care. I'm sorry to hear that, but you're right. Jin and Takeo both raised an eyebrow. Well, Jin did, since you cannot see Takeo's face. We just met, can't trust someone just by appearances, so how about we? Like I said not that long ago, I'm not interested. I am quite strong enough now. All I need is to find a way to get the powers I should have now. Since I killed that Uzumaki baka, I have to, he said, but the sound of laughter interrupted him. Ha 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 ha, I am sorry, did you say you've killed Uzumaki? Aizen questioned him as Jin looked at him as if he grew a second head as he never heard him laugh. Yes, so what's so funny? Takeo answered back, slightly aggravated that he is laughing at him. Oh, nothing, it was just funny to hear a hollow kill that man. It's preposterous to have a hollow kill someone that I couldn't, Aizen stated as he grinned, staring at the first hollow ever make him laugh. Well, I did, I seen him perish with my own eyes, Takeo told him as a thought popped into his head, making him grin as well. I guess that makes me stronger than you, doesn't That little comment made Aizen drop his grin and glared at this hollow in front of him who dared to say he was stronger, the man who will soon surpass Cammy herself. How dare he, know it? How dare it proclaim that a hollow, any hollow at that, was superior to him? Jin, who notices the change in his leader's face, started to take a couple steps back. Aizen letting enough Ryotsu leaking out, forcing Takeo to his hands and knees, finding it hard to breathe as the said person in front of him walks slowly towards him. Now could you repeat yourself and tell who is stronger than whom again? I did quite hear it. Aizen spoke icily as he unsheathed his Zanpakuto, placing the blade on Takeo's neck, drawing blood. Tell me who is stronger. Takeo, gritting his teeth, he hated to admit it, but this man know this monster was far superior to him. Why, you are. He struggled to let out. Good, now that we established that, on to my next question. Will you join my army but make the right choice? If you chose wrong, I'd kill you. So what is your answer? Aizen suggested, knowing the hollow will chose the right answer. Takeo was fucked. It was either go with Aizen by force or die right here. Any other hollow would probably be begging not to die. However, Takeo would dare give this monster the satisfaction of ending his life, so he made his choice, but by Cammy herself he will find a way to kill him and Uzumaki if he's still alive. I'll join you, my lord. Takeo spat out with much loath as possible. The pressure smashing upon Takeo suddenly lifted, letting him breathe properly as well to letting him stand. You made the right choice, Aizen said, sheathing his Zanpakuto. He could give a rat's ass if he accepted or not. All this hollow was as another pawn in his scheme, nothing more, nothing less. Turning to face Jin, telling to take the hollow behind him to Las Noches and disappearing via Shunpo. Jin, not waiting the wrath of Aizen thrown upon him, does as told, walking to the now standing Takeo, places a hand on his shoulder, and the both of them disappears as well. Karakura Town unbanned warehouse. So let me get this straight, for the last 10 years a group of hollows who were led by Takeo Shiroryu no Shumetsu, who you say was just a regular hollow trying to find some way to attain powers like yours. Instead of killing him, you let him leave, but not after telling him that becoming a Vasto Lord will grant him your said powers. Thinking that he would come back, you made something similar to Yoruichi, Tessai and mine underground training facility that you stayed and still are staying now. Only to come out to either check on your mod soul, get instinctual needs, or destroy a hollow the Shinigami's causally missed. That was 2 years ago. Since then you've been doing Cammy knows what, most likely training like always came out when you sensed us, and Takeo and his new group of hollows took off to face them and did the same as the last group. Because of Yoruichi's interference almost died soon after you forced her to leave to face you demon side and summoned a door to darkness and somehow got out and came back here. That sound about right? Urahara summed up what Naruto told them the last several hours. Yeah, but the way you say it makes me sound like I did jack squat. Naruto pouted. That is all interesting, but what were those new powers you were talking about? Shinji inquired. Naruto just grinned, showing his sharp canine-like teeth. Straight to the point as always, Shinji. Guess I could tell you, but you may or may not like what you hear. Pausing to make sure, he had everyone's attention. When I felt from the Soul Society after confronting Aizen and came to Karakura Town, it didn't happen right away, but I started to hear a voice in my head. At the time, I did not have my Zanpakuto, so it could be her talking to me, so I just ignored it. About 2 to 3 months later, while I did my daily training, I started to cough up so kind of white substance. The mention of him coughing got everyone full attention, mostly Shinji and his group. But the weird thing was it attacked to my face, it like it was alive. Once I took it, it dissipated, something like what happens when we kill a hollow. It started to happen a lot more and was longer as the days went by. Eventually by the end of that week the worst one hit it and did not stop until more of that with substance completely covered my face. Luckily, I made that underground training facility and was in it at the time, or there would be no Karakura Town right now and I would have every captain on my ass. What do you mean there would be no damn Karakura Town? Hiyori asked. Exactly what it means, no town. Once your mask completely forms, you either lose complete control of your mind and body, have somewhat control, or nothing really happens. I'm not sure about the last on. As I was saying. What you said, how you know what happened to you happened to us as well? Kensai asked. What do I look like, an idiot? Don't answer that, he said before Hiyori could say anything. As I was saying, yes, I know it happened. You all gave it away once I started to talk about coughing up that white substance. In addition, I can sense it. I do not know how. Maybe it is because I have more control over my inner hollow. You don't have control over jack shit. I let you win that fight just so I can see how you fight. Naruto exclaimed as Naruto ignored him. Then you guys do, but, inner hollow, what do you mean by that? Urahara interruptedly said. Sigh, I was going to get to that, but since you interrupted me I'll tell. An inner hollow is what you would be if you ended up as a hollow instead of going to the Soul Society. I am not sure if yours will the same as mine. I hope not. I don't want to look like you, especially you whisker marks. Who the hell get tattoos of whiskers on their face? Come on. I would rather get Kensai's 69 tattoo on my face than whisker marks. Hiyori stated, making Kensai nod, but stated to think about it. Hey, what the hell do you by that? Kensai asked her. What, you should take that as a compliment that I would even think about getting a tattoo on my face. I should, but at the same time it feels like an insult. Well, it kind of is, but compared to Naruto whiskers I would go with your 69 tattoo as well, Shinji said. I don't know what you guys are talking about, I think they make him look cute, Yoruichi said, defending her lover. Yeah, it's way better than your stupid 69 tattoo. Mashiro agreed with Yoruichi as she dissed her ex-captain tattoo. Plus his fox ears and tails make him even cuter. Once she said that, everyone else's eyes shot towards Naruto, seeing that he did have ears and tails like a fox. How they all missed it I do not even know. How the heck did you get those fish cake? Hiyori asked the question that was on everyone's mind now. Naruto on the other hand had his fist balled up, his eyes glaring at the floor as if he was trying to burn holes into it, trying hard not to blow his top off as his eyes turned from cerulean blue to crimson red. Well, answer is fish cake. Where or when did you get though? None of your damn business. That's where, and these, pointing to his whiskers, are not tattoos for the fucking thousandth time. They're fucking birthmarks, and can you for Kami's sakes quit fucking interrupting me? He yelled, shutting them up as none of them dared to say or do anything, but they did notice his eyes did change. Hey Kage, I think you need to take a chill pill. Shut the fuck up, I'm not in the damn mood right now. They're acting like this isn't a big deal if they don't get control over their inner hollows and go berserk. I'm not sure if that Tessai, Urahara, Yoruichi and I could stop them, not in the condition I'm in. He's right. Shit, when we first fought, once getting control back over his body, his little training area was completely destroyed. No, not destroyed, completely annihilated. There was nothing but rubble. Shit, even the rubble was destroyed. There's no other chose. Getting back to reality, Naruto made his chose. If you guys want to act like children and not take this seriously, then be my guest, but don't come crying to me when your inner hollow starts to take over, forcing you to kill innocent lives. If that happen, you can bet your ass that I will be there to kill you my damn self and will not give it a second thought, he said icily while giving them a look that told them he meant every word. Turning to walk away, Yoruichi was the first to speak up. Naruto, wait, you didn't mean that, did you? She questioned him. I meant every word, Yoruichi. Once you all are done acting like children and want to start acting like adults, ask Yoruichi where you can find me. He answered with his back facing them and shunned Pio'd away before anyone could ask him other question. Do you think he really meant it? He could be trying to scare us or something, right? Hiyori asked the group. No, he meant it, every word. Yoruichi said, getting everyone's attention. You all seen the look in his eyes, have seen that same look in his eyes not that long ago. It was when you went to look for him, wasn't? Urahara asked her, getting a nod from the said woman. He was fighting the second group of hollows. He had the same look in his eyes, and what he did to them, it was too cruel even for a hollow, she told them. What he did exactly, what could be too cruel even for a hollow? Kensai wondered, wanting to know as he did many different things to hollows. Let me ask you this, has any of you ever had a hollow you fought beg you to let them go? She questioned them, get head shakes telling her no. What hollow would ask a Shinigami to let them live? One thing they hate is when a Shinigami pities them, Shinji stated. Yes, but what I seen Naruto do was probably worst what we or even Kenpachi has done. She told them, getting to think what he could have done that Kenpachi has not done already before they could pound her anymore. She flat out told them. He ripped of their masked. That not that bad Kenpachi day, that what once every month or so, Hiyori stated. Yeah, I think I've done it once before in self-defense, Kensai added. You don't get it, Kenpachi does it because he is in a fight? Don't forget he's insane too, Shinji added as well, getting nods from everybody. But this is Naruto we're talking about. I don't care how many fights he's been in with hollows, he never once did anything like what I saw, she told them. Alright then, tell us, Yoruichi, tell us what Naruto exactly did. Urahara said calmly. He too wanted to know what Naruto supposedly did since he was not there to witness. When I reached the area Naruto was, he was surrounded by 14 Ijuka's class hollows. At first I thought I should help him, but that Takeo hollow started talking, telling Naruto that Hid did what he was told and demanded he tell him how he got his. Soon enough he sent his lackeys at Naruto. In a matter of seconds Naruto took out some with his hands and half with his hollow attack. She stopped there to let that last part sink in. Did you say he used Hollow's attack? Urahara questioned her, getting nod. He used the what we see most Gilligans use, the Sero, but his was much more powerful. From what I saw, it took a good chunk out of the forest they were fighting in, and I am sure it was not at full power either. I doubt he was even thinking about the humans, or as in that battle all he cared about was killing every one of them. However, what he did to the last 7 hollows, and let me mind you that they were trying to run away at the time. Making 7 clones, one for each of them, he stopped them, making his clones grab hold of their masks and stating that he always wanted to see what was under their mask and tried to pull them off. Even though I could see his face cause of his mask, I could tell he was enjoying every second of it. Once he tore of their masks, killing them instantly, saying nothing happened because they were weak. Then he tell that Takeo guy that he has a new theory what would happen if a Vasto Lord's mask were to be accidentally removed. I do not know about you, but I know he does not act like that, and Naruto knows it and knows it could happen to you guys and tried to tell you, but we kept interrupting him. Yoruichi finished saying. Not wanting to hear a response. Now or you can keep your mouth shut and see if Naruto can help you guys out, or have him come after you and kill you because you lost control, she suggested. There was an awkward silence before Shinji spoke. I probably speaking for everyone and voting one living. Again getting nods from all the once injured Shinigamis. Yoruichi with a feline-like smirk. Good, now follow me. With Naruto reappearing in front, what looks like a giant tree, putting his hands together. Kai. The genjutsu dispelled, revealing the entrance to his training. Leaving a clone there, he began to walk down the long and not so dark cave. Stopping to look around, noticing he could see the walls of the cave almost as clear as day. Must be something I inherited for the Kyuubi, he thought, continuing down the tunnel, ignoring his inner hollow trying to talk to him. Exiting the tunnel, not stopping as he jumps of the end of the cliffside, landing on the ground as if he was standing there the whole time. Staring at the ground, he starts to think about what he said to his friends. If you guys want to act like children and not take this seriously, then be my guest, but don't come crying to me when your inner hollow starts to take over, forcing you to kill innocent lives. If that happen, you can bet your ass that I will be there to kill you my damn self and will not give it a second thought. Clenching his hands while shaking his head. I can't believe I said that. What the hell was I thinking? Don't know, but you sounded pretty pissed off at something so small. Yeah, them losing control like you did could happen, but I sure you could save them without killing them. You know, it is rather wired to hear you trying to cheer me, you. Well, what you don't know is that in you goddamn head, when you feel sad or your heart in turmoil, it rains in here. At first I thought it just does it once in a while. As the years went by and you remember something sad or crap like that, it rains. Sorry if I don't like the rain, Sumi. That'd be kind of hard since only I can hear you. If you take over my body and talk, people will think I gone crazy. Ha, he very funny. Naruto said dryly. Back to the matter at hand, what caused you to snap like that, especially your friend? Last I known, friend do not threaten friend. How would you know? Naruto mumbled to himself. I don't know, it kind of made me mad when they kept interrupting, but not enough to make me blow my top off. Maybe it has something to do with you being the Kyuubi or something. I thought about that too. She did have a short fuse when we first met. No matter what I said set her off. Maybe I inherited that from her too, or it could be a demon. I'm a full demon now. The only demon I ever saw was the Kyuubi and my inner demon, so I really don't know. That can make things complicated. Yeah, I guess only time can tell, but still, when I told Yoruichi that I meant every word that I said. Yeah, so what, they probably know you didn't mean it. That's the thing, deep down I think I actually meant it. I would kill them if they were to lose control. Seriously, you, kill a friend, come on. I am not kidding, I meant it. Yeah, blow it out your ass. You calling me a liar? Naruto yelled, getting pissed at his inner hollow. Yeah, I am calling you a liar. What the hell are you going to do about it, huh? How about I going there and kick your Sarias again and see if talk shit then? I'll find a way to kill you. If I found a way to kill Sasuke and Madara, I'll find a way to kill you too. Naruto threatened Naruto. I guess you do have a short fuse. What, you were testing to see if I blow my top again? Yep, You ass, I should go in there and kick your ass, he told him once he calmed down. Just great, what I always wanted to be, a walking ticking time bomb. Just waiting for someone to say the wrong thing and tear them to shreds, he exclaimed. Look on the bright side. What bright side? The sex would be good. Naruto was lost for words as he began to think what would the sex would be like, what he would do to Yoruichi. Soon enough he was out of it until Naruto brought him back to reality. Your nose is bleeding. He quickly snapped out of it, wiping his nose as Naruto laughed at him. Shut up, he told him, waiting for him to calm down before starting to talk again. Knowing that it just adds more of a problem to the problems I already have. What sex? When the hell did sex ever become a problem? You never informed me about this. This is bullshit. Not sex, you idiot. I'm talking about my anger problem. Oh, that is easy. You figure out a solution all by yourself. Yep, and fuck you. Alright, enlighten me. It's easy, all you have to do is go to a therapist or whatever the humans call them. That is the most stupid suggestion you ever given me before. How the hell am I going to tell a shrink? Oh, I think that my reason for my anger is because I'm a demon. That go well. Hey, it was just an idea, so fuck off. You know what? Screw you, I'm going home. Naruto broke off his connection with Naruto. Sigh, idiot, my inner hollow is an idiot. What am I going to do? However, before he could figure that out, one of his problems finally showed up, as when the clone he left at the entrance dispelled, showing him an image of his clone talking to Yoruichi and the others. Great, I really don't want to see them right now. Sigh, better turn off the gravity seals, Yoruichi is going to actually kill me this time. Naruto complained, turning off the seals with a hand sign. The said group finally came into Naruto view as he sensed them above. Yoruichi, learning from her last experience, stopped the group before they decided to jump. As Naruto predicted, she stopped theme, not wait for a response. The gravity normal, so you don't worry about being crushed, Yoruichi. He deadpanned as the said woman glared at him from above, making Naruto grin. Without any hesitation, the group proceeds in jumping down, joining Naruto. How do you know we were here? Yoruichi asked him, since she and the others only talked to his clone, but she had her suspicions that it was more than just a physical copy of him. If you haven't figured it, but knowing you probably have. My clones do more than just make copies of myself. Whatever my clone sees, hears, touches, smells, or tastes, I receive a mental-like image of what transpired, as if I was actually there. Naruto explained. Thought so. Knew it. Yoruichi, Urahara, and Shinji all thought to themselves. Looking at his friends, he takes a deep breath. Look, about what I said back there, I'm s. No, you shouldn't have to apologize, we're the one who should, so we're sorry, right guys? Shinji interrupted. Yeah, we're sorry. The rest of the group replied in unison. I'm also sorry for saying your birthmarks were tattoos and called them stupid, even if they are. Hiyori added, muttering that last part under breath. I heard that, Snaggletooth, he said, smirking as she glared at him. But still, about what I said, again he was interrupted, but it was by Shinji raising his hand as I signed to stop him. Look, whatever you said, we know you didn't mean it. We know you would never threaten any of your friends and mean it. So let bygones be bygones, all right. He said as he saw Naruto put on his fake smile and nodded, knowing he wanted to say more but let it slide. So you guys being here means you want to tackle your inner hollow, am I right? Naruto asked them, getting nods, taking that as a sign to go on with his explanation. First of all, once you start, I want you to go one at a time. This will let the others keep your hollow occupied as you fight your inner hollow. I do not know what to aspect when you challenge it, since I fought mine, he only used similar moves as mine, so aspect it to act like you also, it might be able to use your Zanpakuto as well. You mean it can use our Zanpakuto? How is that even possible, and why one make us go one at a time? It will be fast if we all do it and get it over with. Hiyori questioned him. Weren't you listening? If you go one at a time, the rest of us can stop the hollowified self of whoever fighting. When I fought mine, I was by myself, and the place you see now was total destroyed. I mean, there was nothing left once I got control over my body again. This way we can see if my hypothesis is correct. Naruto explained to her. Fine, we'll do it your way. She answered. Good, now the only thing is, which one of you wants to go first? He asked them as they all look at Hiyori, making the said person look at them. Why the hell are you all looking at me? No, why do I have to go first? She asked them. Ladies first. Shinji replied. What about Mashiro and Lisa? She answered back. You're the one who wanted to get it over and done with, Lisa said. Yeah, I agree with Lisa. Mashiro added, you're all S, you know that. Fine, I'll do it since you're all too chicken to do it. Hiyori exclaimed, folding her arms, wanting for Naruto next instructions. Great, now that we have our volunteer, now all we need is to put up a barrier. Naruto then looks at Tessai and Hachi. Tessai, Hachi, if it isn't any trouble, could you both prepare a strong enough barrier for this? Not a problem. Both of them replied. That takes care of that. Now the only thing left now is to which one of you is going to fight her. He asked them, and without missing a beat Hiyori answered for the group. Shinji is going, so my damn hollowified body can kick his ass while I'm kicking my hollow's ass, she yelled. That is not what we want, but, he thought, Shinji? I guess as long as it makes her happy and she shuts up I'll do it, he said, making her glare at him. Alright, you two just stand over there. He points over to the side. To confront your inner hollow, just do a Jinzen, Blade Zen. Hiyori gives him a nod. Giving Hachi and Tessai the signal to put up the barrier as Hiyori gets into a meditative pose, her body taking shape, form of a hollow, and attacks Shinji. Just think what Ichigo had to go through. As the two wanted each other, Naruto walks over to Kazuki. Hey, can we talk in private? He asked him. Sure. Urahara replied as he followed Naruto, leading them away from the group with Yoruichi eyeing them the whole time, but he just shrugged it off. So what did you want to talk about? Urahara asked, not sure what Naruto could ask for him since he really did not have any plans yet besides one, but he still had some loose ends. I need you to open a Senkaimon for me, he requested. Why? What possible reason would you need to go back to the Soul Society? Urahara questioned him. My Zanpakuto. I left it back in the Seireitei and I am going to need it. Hence why I asked you to open a gate for me, Naruto answered. I don't know, security will be tight since we escaped not that long ago, and who knows, they might even close the gateway, and if they didn't. Wait, this isn't just about your Zanpakuto, is it? Urahara replied, suspecting him to do something stupid. Observant as always, yes, there is something else. It's Soifan, isn't it? He asked him, getting a nod from him. I don't know why Yoruichi left her, but she must have a good reason. Besides, confronting her will only make things worse for her. That may be so, but not going is something I can't do. You see, I made a promise that I would come and visit her, but me being the idiot I am left my Zanpakuto in there. I can't visit, and you know me, I don't go back on my promises. Naruto told him. Sigh, you know one of your promises is going to get you killed one day. Maybe, but I'll wait till that day comes. But, what about Yoruichi? You know she been watching us the whole time. Urahara informed him. Yeah, I know, just tell her what I told you. I went to get my Zanpakuto and that's it. Okay, but if she figures it out, you're all on your own. Urahara tells him, unsheathing his Zanpakuto as he opens a Senkaimon. Yoruichi, who sees this, decides to walk over and ask what was going on, but as soon as she started walking, the Senkaimon's gates opened and Naruto jumped into her, and their surprise, he was able to enter, thinking he was banished. What was that about, and why is Naruto going back to the Soul Society? She asked him once as soon she reached him. Oh, he just asked if I could open a gate so he could go and get his Zanpakuto, he told her in a happy-go-lucky voice. Is that so? Are you sure he didn't go for anything else? She questioned him, narrowing her eyes. Nope. He replied, quickly turning towards the others. Let's see how Hiyori doing, he said, walking off, leaving her to wonder what other reason Naruto would have to run off to the Soul Society. The only reason she could think of was Soifan. Seireitei, secret underground training facility, BAM. The sound of fists destroying boulders echoed throughout the cave like training ground, as well as someone screaming in frustration. Bam! If you have not guessed whom it is, I'll tell you. It was none other than Soifan, apprentice to the goddess of Shunpo Yoruichi and student of one Naruto Uzumaki. Who both left her. One was framed by a man named Sosuke Aizen and the other left in order to save her friends, but she didn't know that. All she knew was that her mentor just up and left after promising each other that they will always be together, and her sensei, who also promised to visit her too, never showed, thinking he said that just to comfort her. Feeling betrayed by both people, she only cared about came to the training ground in a way to blow off steam and let out some of the frustration of being betrayed. Why me? What did I do to deserve this? Soifan exclaimed, smashing another boulder. Did I do something to upset you? Tell me what I did wrong, she said as she fell to her knees. Tell me what I did wrong. You didn't do anything, Soi-fan. A familiar voice told her, making the said person whip her head around, her eyes widen. Naruto-sensei? She whispers. Is that really you, Naruto-sensei? Yeah, who else do you know who has blonde spiky hair, blue eyes, and whisker marks on his face? He told her. But you have. Soi-fan said, looking a little shocked and stunned for some reason Naruto could figure out. Oh, you must have noticed my new ears and tails. He asked her, getting a slow nod from her. Well, for long story short, let's just say I went through some changes in the last 10 years and leave it at that. Again he only got another nod from her, but notices as she puts her head down, mumbling something. You lied. What? I said you lied. You lied to me. You said you would visit and help with my training. I waited and 10 years later you show up. First it was you, then Lady Yoruichi left after she promised. She promised me, damn it. Soi-fan exclaimed, her hands balled up to fists as she desperately tried fighting back her tears. What promise? She promised that we will always be together, then the next thing I know she's gone without a word. By now she was crying. What did I do to upset her? Tell me, sensei, what did I do? She asked him between breaths as Naruto walked up to, getting down to one knee and hugged her. Soi, no matter what you do you could never upset us, Naruto said, trying to reassure her as she cried on his shoulder. After a while she finally calmed down, where she had occasionally sniff her and there. She then realized that she can finally talk to her sensei. She asked the most obvious one to her. Sensei, why haven't you visited? I mean, there could be anything important in the world of the living, is there? Well, Naruto started as he rubbed the back of his head sheepishly. You see, I kind of left my Zanpakuto here in this very training ground. Now that I mention it, I hope you did not damage it. He looked at the destruction his student caused before he got there. Soi-fan, blushing in embarrassment, sorry, I didn't know. It's alright, how could you know since I didn't tell anybody it's here in the first place? He told, ruffling her hair as she smacks his hand away. Sensei, I told to quit doing that, she said, glaring at him. Oh, lighten up, Soi, you're always so serious, let loose once in a while, he said, looking around and starts to walk in a random direction. I am not. Hey, where you going? She asked him. To get my Zanpakuto, he told her, as he kept walking, not bothering to look back. Wait for me. Soi yelled out, getting up and ran after her sensei. Just as she caught up to him, he asked her something. So tell me, Soi, have you been training? Of course, Lady Yoruichi, and I've been training no stop since you left, but that's not what I meant. Yeah, it's great you two been training, but I was talking about training at my secret training ground my scroll showed you. Oh yeah, I have, and let me tell you, it was hard to find even if it showed me where to go. It would be much of a secret if it was easy now, would it? I guess you're right, but still it was hard, she pouted. Humph. So tell me, how did you like it? It was breathtaking. How were you able to grow those trees and find a lake there in the middle of nowhere? Glad you like it, and to answer your question, I made them. How? It's one of my powers that only I possess, but anyways, tell me what you learned so far. With all the time I had, I was only able to learn the Ryotsu clone. So far I can only make 2, 3 if I push myself. That's good, but I suspected more. Stopping to look around, but notices Soi looking at the ground in the corner of his eyes. Hey, what's wrong? I'm sorry I disappointed you, but I'll try hard, I promise, she said, looking at him with determination filled in her eyes. I know you will, and I wasn't disappointed. I know how you like to push yourself, so I thought you would have learned more since you can use the Ryotsu clones, he told her, seeing the confused look on her face. You don't know what I'm talking about, do you? Shaking her head. Alright, I'll show you, so make a clone. Doing as she told, she made a clone, as did her sensei. Naruto told their pair of clones to go behind the huge boulder that was by them. What are you doing, sensei? Soi asked, completely oblivious to what the clones' real ability are. Just wait and see. With the clones. What are we doing, sensei? Choi asked. We are going to play a game of rock, paper, and scissors, Naruto told her. What a game? How the heck is that going to help out? Choi complained. Just play, and to make things interesting, if you win I'll give you something. And that would be? I can't tell you. If you want to know, you'll just have to win. Fine, you're one, sensei. Koi said, both of them putting their fists out. Rock, paper, scissors. They both yelled, moving their fist up and down after each word. On the last one they each chose a sign for either rock, paper or scissors. Naruto chose paper while Choi chose. Ha, scissors, I win, take that, sensei, Choi exclaimed. Yeah, I guess you did. Naruto looked a little worried. Hope the boss doesn't get mad. So what was that something you promised, she asked. I'll tell you soon enough, as for now just dispel. Both of them did as he suggested and dispelled. With Naruto and Soifan, sensei nothing hap, she stopped, then a grin appeared on her face. So I take it you knew what happened with our clones? Naruto asked, cursing his clone for betting on the game. Now he had to think of what he could give her. Yeah, you lost at a game at rock, paper, scissors, so what was it you're going to give me since I won the bet? She said, still grinning over the victory against her sensei. I'll get back to you on that, but first let's find my Zanpakuto, he said as they started to walk towards the location of Naruto's Zanpakuto. Tell me, sensei, how did we know what happened between our clones? She asked, still could figure how she knew. Well, she had an idea but was not 100% sure. Still can't figure it out, huh? Well, I have an idea but I'm not sure. Alright, tell me what you think you know. Hey, you never know, you might be right. Okay, here's what I think, that our clones can somehow transfer what they see and hear back to use once they're dispelled. That's very good. Not only can they transfer what they see and hear, they also do the same for touch, taste, and learn. For example, let us say you are trying to learn a new Kido spell and it could take you about 2 weeks by yourself. By using a clone you could cut that time in half, so it would take only 1 week. Using another clone will cut that time in half as well, only taking you half a week. You understand what I'm trying to tell you? So you're saying if I use my clones while I train I could learn a lot fast. Basically. I wish I knew that sooner. But just to warn you, once you can use more clones, be careful. Clones also transfer what fatigue they have too, so try to keep that in mind as well, he informed her. I will. And here we are, he informed her again as the said person looks around only to find nothing but boulders and rocks. Not to burst your bubble, sensei, but all I see are rocks and bigger rocks, she deadpanned. Exactly. What? Oh come on, Soy, ninjas must see beneath the beneath. I know they teach you that in Onmitsukido. Yeah, but we're not ninjas. We're a covert operative that specializes in stealth and assassinations, and many other things I don't want to list. Soifan said in a matter-of-fact tone. Sounds like ninjas to me, he deadpanned, putting his hands in ram sign, Kai. The boulder next to them faded away, revealing a long black box with the kanji for death on it. A box? You came back for a box? She questioned her sensei. No, I came for my Zanpakuto, which happens to be inside the box. Why would I risk coming back to Soul Society for a box? What do you think, I'm stupid or something? You could have fooled me,